Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Rental Store. Thank you for joining us on episode 273 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you doing?
Did I miss anything?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, I just getting back from a week of vacation, getting kind of back into the flow of things. One of the funny things though of the cruise is that I didn't buy the internet package, right? Like I just didn't have internet. I wanted to kind of disconnect for the week that we were there. And plus it's just outrageously expensive. Like there's just no reason for it to be so expensive. But I decided that, we just kind of wanted to disconnect. And we really, it's funny because, we contrasted it with our Disney trips, which are usually kind of like go, go, go kind of thing. And we don't really have a lot of time to just kind of relax and, just have a drink and like look out in the ocean or whatever, sit on the beach. We just don't budget that kind of time in our Disney vacations. It's always like what's the next thing? Right. And we had a little bit of that on the cruise, but it was much more relaxing. But the funny thing was because for some reason, even though I didn't get the internet package, you have to hook up to their Wi-Fi to like use the app while you're on board and, use their app to see the show times and all that stuff. Right. So I hook up to their Wi-Fi. And so even though I'm not getting internet, for some reason, I'm still getting notifications. So like I'm getting notifications from the Discord of everything that's happening around D23. Yeah. So
when we were
talking Horizon?
about it,
no, I have T-Mobile, but I'm getting these notifications that are popping through, but I can't click on them because I don't have internet. So if I click on it, it just doesn't load the app. I just see the notification and like a brief preview of it.
Yeah. So expect to get a charge on your bill. Same thing.
No, I was in airplane mode. I was in airplane mode the entire time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was in airplane mode the whole time. Yeah.
So the Discord notifications were still coming through on your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but I couldn't read them. So it was kind of like a tease. I could like see like a little preview, but I couldn't see what the whole message said. So that was kind of funny. But and I was getting Facebook notifications and work notifications, but like I said, I was on airplane mode the entire time. I wanted to make sure that I didn't get charged for anything, right? So I was on airplane mode and just had Wi-Fi hooked up and nothing else. Although I will say, with my plan with T-Mobile, I was being on the islands, they did give me it was like 5 free gigs of data, of high-speed data and unlimited texting on all the islands I was on, which was helpful. Like, because we were able to, like call my daughter and say hi and, that kind of stuff. And also just get on the internet a little bit while we were on the island. But, obviously being careful not to go over that 5 gigabyte limit because I'm sure they probably would have charged us after that. So I just go ahead. So,
5's a lot. You wouldn't have gone.
It's a good amount. Yeah. 5's, but we were doing, video. We were videoing. So you can eat up some data with that. Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the trip was great overall. We had a lot of fun. I will say, I don't know if I'll do another cruise in summertime like this again. Cause it was brutal. It's like going to Disney in July, man. It was, hot, 100% humidity. You like walked outside and like you're immediately sweating. It's just, it was hard to be outside. And, we went to like the ports, we walked around a little bit. We usually went back on the boat, got in the pool and, just hung out in the pool. And when we did their private island, which was very nice, by the way, I really loved the Royal Private Island. I think that was actually our favorite stop was the Coco Cay. And we had just a great time. I mean, overall, it was a lot of fun. There were some little things here and there that were, issues like stuff with dining and, the drink package. They had like 4 soda machines on the whole boat for every single person, 2 of which are not open past like 10 o'clock. And then the freestyle machines, and they were literally constantly broken, like just constantly broken, not accessible. So that was a little frustrating. But the entertainment was great. Honestly, this trip made me even more excited for my Disney cruise next year because there are things that were real shortcomings on this that I think that Disney will do better based on the things I've read and seen.
You also went on a super old boat, right? You went on an adventure.
So the Adventure it was built in 2001 and redone in 2015. So it's not a very new boat. And actually, when we were in Coco Cay, we were parked next to Utopia of the Seas. So like,
that's what I'm booked for.
Yeah, because that one just launched a couple weeks ago. Like that one's brand new, and just to see the difference between the 20-year-old ship and the brand new ship that just launched was pretty crazy. So, I mean that Utopia of the Seas is gigantic. It's kind of absurd.
4-day in July next year.
Oh, nice. So good.
Yeah, so I was going to say, noting that you had some deficiencies on this, I'll be glad to revisit this conversation when you go on your Disney trip and really hear about why or what was good, what was bad, because it's interesting to see that comparison.
Listen, the staterooms were stuck in like the early 2000s kind of vibe. Like I had and this might be an obscure reference if you don't watch The Office, but the episode of The Office, the dinner party, where Michael has his tiny TV, his tiny flat screen TV. That's like basically what was in the room. It's like just really, really tiny TV with no channels and spotty connection quality, and they still had some. They had like an actual like Ethernet port in the room, which I thought was like it's like really, but
why would you not want that?
I'm just saying, like, you don't use wired internet as much as you use Wi-Fi nowadays.
Yeah, what are you plugging an Ethernet cable into at this point?
Yeah,
anything. Why would you not?
Do you carry an Ethernet cable?
I don't carry an Ethernet cable around with me.
I do.
Okay, then you're the exception because most people carry a USB cable, but not an Ethernet cable.
Yeah, I think it's less common than it used to be, but I get what you're saying, Damon. But yeah, no. Listen, overall, great trip. Had a lot of fun. Can't complain too much. Little rough seas, and like I said, it was very hot, and we were running away from a hurricane. But
I think the problem too is that some of those older boats, people get like this kind of they don't understand that there could be better because the stabilization just gets better as boats get newer. Yeah, and I think that there's always that as an issue. So I kind of always think to myself, it's like it's tough to take a cruise on an older boat as kind of your first sort of cruise, but you didn't go with your daughter, right? That's one of those.
No, we're saving that for the Disney one next year. So yeah.
Well, that was that whole Discord thing. I mean, I think that's crazy talk, but okay.
Well,
for everyone that wants to know my opinion, just in case you're curious, I think going on trips without your family is the most ridiculous thing ever, because you have this set amount of time in life from when your kids are born to when they leave. And why would I ever want to waste that going on a trip without them? And I'm not knocking Tom. That's just more of a general statement. I think in general, right, no one ever looks back and goes, oh, gosh, I wish I didn't spend as much vacation time with my kids when they move out for the first time. So you'll never catch me doing that. But it was on Discord.
That's fine for you, Damon, because I do it too. We do take trips without my son because my wife and I like to have, again, that's fine. But my wife and I like to have our trips together too.
That's what retirement's for.
Yeah. Well, we enjoyed honestly though, I don't know if my daughter would have even had a good time on this boat. Like we were like looking for the kid things to do and having a hard time finding them.
I think that might be boat related.
Yes, it could
for
be.
That one. Yeah, like you won't have that trouble on Disney.
No, I won't have that trouble on Disney. And that was one of the big things we noticed too. But I mean, like there were like very adult shows that were happening on that boat, some like risque stuff that kids were at, and they were even saying, hey, this is 18 plus. But then there were, 8.
Well, just like people showed up to Stitch, right?
Well, yeah.
Like, I mean, Alien Encounter, like, of course, right? Like,
yeah, because people don't listen to those things.
They don't listen at all.
Yeah. So, but anyway, like I said, it was a good trip. And Damon, I think you also went on a trip.
Yeah, so I was in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge for a couple of days. The trip turned, it was supposed to be from Saturday to Wednesday. It ended up being from Friday to Monday. We had to switch our times around twice just because of my son going to college. And, my daughter tried out for tennis and we just kind of assumed that she would be playing JV and that would be that. And she ended up making varsity. So she had a match on Monday. So we ended up leaving 5 a.m. on Monday. So we did not do Dollywood, and we did stay at the place that we stayed at the last 2 times, which is Riverstone. It's a timeshare on a golf course, but it's definitely stuck in the old times, but very nice, but just very dated. But they keep it very clean, and it was fine. We ended up with a 3-bedroom this time because we just had a few extra people with us. So we ended up doing the new mini golf course there, which is Mermaids and Air Pirates, which was really well done. Actually, it's by the same people that made Toy Box and Crave. And we ended up doing their newer one. And I would say that definitely more themed. Like it was for a mini golf place. It was pretty well themed. The one that was inside was the mermaid one. And, they had the fog, they had a mermaid fake swimming around, right? Like they had places to get pictures with them. They had all sorts of stuff. And even in the Air Pirates one, there was, air pirates in character walking around. I was surprised at how well they were done, but I think the best part about it is that the holes were a little bit more complex. So sometimes, they go for theming and easy holes, and this time around it was a little bit more of both. And then, some pretty good holes. We ended up playing the first round where we do the special things that they tell you to do in a hole. You got to sit down, you got to kick it the first time, you got to do. And that just was not it. So the second time we just played straight up mini golf, and that was pretty good. We ended up doing Anarchista for a day, which was okay, I think. There is one mountain coaster there.
What is that?
Anarchista.
Is that a place?
Yeah, it's like an amusement parky sort of place. And Tom, you're going to relate to this, and you're not going to believe me, but this is so crazy. So they have 2 mountain coasters, which you've been on mountain
Alpine coaster. Yeah.
But the one that's in the park, instead of being a dual track coaster, right, is a single track.
Okay.
So like a monorail-ish, right?
Okay, it's like it's a single rail instead of
single rail. Yeah.
Okay, I've seen those. There's very few of those though. They're very uncommon.
So it was. We were kind of like, all right, whatever, and we were trying to figure out when we were going to go on that, because we ended up buying a package for Anarchista for that, the 2 coasters, the park, and then as well the Astrolumina thing at night, which was phenomenal. I'll get to that, but so we go on this single rail coaster. Tom, I think it was scarier than the Alpine Slide.
Oh, really?
Which is unreal to me, because I don't understand. So we get in.
Because it's a single rail? Is that?
Yeah. Okay. So we get in, and, they put the seatbelt on like they do on the mountain coaster, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, no, there's another like strap, like one that you would wear in a car, like a seatbelt.
Like a full-on seatbelt.
Full-on seatbelt. Yeah. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, yeah, all right, whatever, right? Like, I didn't think anything of it. So when I ended up going first, right? Because it's always what happens. And I'm like, whatever, man, like full throttle, let's go. No, it's probably the first mountain coaster that I could not physically hold it down the whole entire time.
Oh yeah.
There's no way. So
pushing the lever forward to make you go faster. Okay,
I mean, I was probably, listen, I'll be honest with you, I was probably at like 90%. Yeah. But the first one was like, oh wow, okay, like this is not what I expected. It was pretty scary. The second one, I was like, I don't care. I'm double seatbelted in. Like I should be good. So I went full throttle. Ended up with like a bruise from the seatbelts after I got off the next day. That's how fast it was.
That's crazy.
It was one of the scarier rides that I've ever been on, which is crazy. Like I was just, again, only if you're going full throttle. My wife and a couple of the other ones did not full throttle, and that's a different story. But full throttle, single rail, like when you go around the corners, is something else. Like it was something else. So
actually, that's the only. I just looked this up, Damon. This is the only single rail Alpine slide in the United States.
Dude, it's scary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the only one. Yeah,
it's scary. Like it really was. And again, like I came off with like the next day, like I was like, like I was like, oh, I must have gotten like a spider bite or something, because I had this huge like dark spot. And then I was like, no, that's just a bruise from riding this thing. It was really good.
I'm watching a YouTube video of it now, and it looks terrifying.
It was one of the top terrifying rides I've ever been on. So we did that, which was fun. And then we left there and ate. We ate at a lot of good places. We ate this cookie dough monster place that was absolutely phenomenal. If you go to Pigeon Forge, it was so good we went twice. Nice. And then we came back for Astrolumina, which I didn't really have high hopes for. So what it is, it's a light show in the middle of the woods. Okay. Right. I wasn't really expecting all that much. It was a hard walkthrough. That's the only thing I would say, because it's dark. You're on dirt paths. You're on the side of a mountain, right? Because you're taking a gondola up, like ski lift up and back. So I mean, you're on the mountain. It was extremely well done. It was not a big add-on. I think it was less than $20 per person. It probably took us about 40 minutes to walk through. It was like serene, meditative. Like, it was really, really cool. Like, I was surprised at how well done it was, especially for the price.
Nice.
So I would say that was well worth it. I don't know if you can do it without going to Anakeesta. I'm not sure about that. But if you can, we're going to go again. Anakeesta was a one and done for me. It was fine, but I don't need to go again. But this Astralumina was definitely well worth it for sure. And I wish we had done it again to get a little bit more relaxing vibe and take on it, because my kids were kind of tapped at that point. So we felt a little rushed through it, but definitely well worth it. We did not get to do the llama trek because they're not open on the weekends. We wanted to do they have a Bible show sort of dinner theater, which, again, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought we could do it on Sunday, and then obviously that was not the case, closed on Sunday. But we did do the Scooby-Doo escape room.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and it was well done. We escaped with, I think, 5 minutes left, maybe somewhere between 2 and 5 minutes.
Cut it close.
Yeah, we cut it very close. And we had a lot of people, so one would have thought that that would have been better. But it was only really our first kind of real escape room. Like, we had done one before, Pigeon Forge, but it was at one of the mini golf places. So it wasn't like a full blown one. Like, this was like a 3-room one. And, all the characters and things like that. I thought it was really, really, really well done. We did enjoy it. I think we'll be doing some more in the future. And let me see, what else did we do? I think that was it, because we were, again, a little bit on, a shorter time frame. Riverstone does have a nice gym, and it does have a lazy river, which is pretty cool for the, the price and the situation. So the kids hung out there for a little bit. But yeah, Cookie Dog Monster. And then there's, Chris put us onto an ice cream place, I think it's called Cruise, which they had marshmallow soft serve. I don't know if it gets better than that for ice cream.
What is that even? I mean, that's got to be a weird consistency, I feel like.
No, it's soft serve ice cream that's marshmallow flavored. Yeah, not marshmallow soft serve per se. So it's a marshmallow soft serve ice cream. It was really good. It was, I don't know if it gets much better than that when it comes to soft serve. It was really good.
I'm reading the reviews for this rail coaster.
Oh, people are probably freaked out of their mind.
Well, it's got 4.1 out of 5 on Google, and you're not the only one that got a bruise. Several people have gotten bruises from this.
Oh, yeah. Because, you kind of think to yourself, like, hey, this is a mountain coaster. Like, I'm just going to full throttle this thing. And again, like, it whips you in that corner so hard that, like, all the seatbelts are doing all they can to possibly hold you in, so you're not, like, flown into the, Tennessee woods. We also did see a black bear in the park, which was cool. Yeah, because I guess that's kind of a thing for them. So that was neat to actually be able to see one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I all the reviews are that they waited a long time and the ride's only like a minute long.
So when we got there, actually, we got there not at the crack of dawn. We did a not crack of dawn park, sort of thing. We're like, what happened? Who cares? We get there at 10:30. It doesn't matter. We got there at 10:30. There was nobody there. We actually could have done anything we wanted. So we did not have to wait at all. Our biggest thing is we were making sure when we did the mountain coasters that we were looking to see who was in front of us, because we didn't want to get our experience hosed up by some softies in front of us. Right. Yeah. So we kind of were like waiting it out, and but that one, there was nobody on. So we actually ended up riding that. I was the first one and there was nobody in front of me. So that was fine. And then on the second mountain coaster, like I said, we just kind of waited it out, and we're like, that family looks a little soft. We're going to just wait. And then we just waited until we kind of had a big gap in between the families. So that way, because, the mountain coasters can be 100% ruined by the family in front of you. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, if they go too slow. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're just stuck.
In fact, when we did it, the couple that we were with, the wife went first and the husband was behind her, and she was going so slow, and he's like yelling at her from behind, like, go faster.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. It can be a little bit challenging if you have somebody slower in front of you, but luckily that didn't happen to me when I did it. So.
No, and then I think, so we'll be going back next year. So it doesn't look like, based on everything we've seen, it doesn't look like Epic Universe has a date yet. So for me, we've now realized that with tennis, we are pretty much a June 18th to July 18th only vacation for the next 4 years. 3 years, 3 more years. So 3 more years, that's the only month we can vacation at this point.
Gotcha.
So we booked the Utopia July 7th through 11th. We're doing a 4-day. And then we still have that Disney cruise. I mean, did you get, oh yeah, 'cause you haven't been on a Disney cruise yet, but we got the 10% off. So the whatever thing. So we have to use that within 2 years.
No, but I gambled enough on the Royal Cruise that they gave me a nice discount for another one.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I didn't get enough. Like my mom gets free cruises because there's like a certain amount of points I guess you can get from gambling in the casino, and
I heard that it's very like randomish. So like there's no real rhyme or reason. But yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I'm kind of like I love to gamble, like Foxwoods person for real, but. I just feel like I may end up like being stuck in there because I like it so much. So I don't know. We'll have to.
I get that, Damon. The thing that stopped me was that there was a lot of smoking going on in the casino, and I was surprised that they even allow it. But just being in there, I was like,
the new ship has both smoking and non-smoking,
which is nice. Yeah,
but the smoking one is obviously bigger, and they also have better venting, from what I understand. But I kind of miss that. Being in the Northeast, I don't think the ones down here. Have you been to the one in North Carolina?
Which one in North Carolina? Oh, the casino? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I just, again, so looking forward to that. So I don't know what our other trips will be, but like I said, I mean, it looks like for me, about 3 more years of vacationing. So we'll probably try to do as much as we can, but I think we're going to be doing a lot of cruising. I truly do. I think we'll be a cruise family for the next 3 years.
I could see us doing a cruise each year now. Not necessarily in place of our Disney trip, maybe in addition to, if possible. But
I mean, I don't have points till 26. So
you used all your DVC points. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that's fine. I mean, I may borrow next year to take a day before the cruise, just because why not?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I just stay somewhere like Old Key, which I like anyway. So for me, I mean, we might do that just to kind of help us out in front of our cruise. The other thing too is that as I ended up booking my cruise for Royal, and the travel agent I was talking to was trying to talk me into Volcano Bay. So from my understanding, it's a really good water park. So I don't know if you heard that they're going to put a water park in Nassau.
No.
Yeah. So it's going to go. Did you get off in Nassau?
No, we didn't stop in Nassau. No.
Oh, okay. So in Nassau, behind the theater, they're thinking about putting a water park in there.
I mean, Royal Caribbean's island, basically.
You did not do the water park.
We didn't do the water park. It was so expensive. It was like over $100, and it was for like 3 slides. It was nothing.
Yeah, they're pretty tall, though.
Yeah, they're very tall. Trust me. I looked at them and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that, but my daughter and my wife said they are out on that. And I just don't know again, because we want stuff to do. So you didn't do snorkeling or anything like that?
We didn't really do a lot of excursions. We did we stopped at Grand Turk, and we'd never been to Grand Turk before. So we decided to do like a golf cart tour of Grand Turk, which you find out very quickly that there's not a whole lot to see in Grand Turk.
I mean, it's good looking, but it's a lot of the same good looking.
Yeah, exactly. Like the beach is amazing, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And it's also, I mean, it's a fairly impoverished place. It's not the most. You don't feel great driving around there, to be totally honest.
I heard that Royal Caribbean has a second island too, though.
They're
over by
building one.
No, there's the first
Labadee, yeah. So we were supposed to go to Labadee, but they canceled us from Labadee because of all the stuff going on in Haiti. So we were supposed to go there. We actually stopped there in between ports because they needed to drop off supplies for the people living on the island. Mm-hmm. So we actually stopped there, but didn't get out. They stopped there like in the middle of the night, basically. But yeah, no, I've heard Labadee's nice. I just haven't been there. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think the pricing is just so much cheaper than Disney.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, so much. I think we're going to end up being at about half.
Yeah.
And listen, I really enjoy Disney. It will be interesting to see how I feel. I mean, we're going to have the exact opposite, right?
Yeah.
I've been on Disney a bunch and going on Royal next year, and you'll have been on Royal and going on Disney. So that should make for a good comparison, I think, going both ways. The only difference I would say is your daughter's still young.
Yeah, she is.
So she'll enjoy Disney, I think, way more.
Oh, we got being on this cruise. We were like, the Disney cruise is going to be amazing, right? Like, because my daughter's going to love all the stuff on there, and I mean, we've even
the only
about it.
The only thing that again for me that was tough is like there's so many cool things for the younger kids to do, but like I kind of want to spend time with my family, and it felt like she was like, oh, I want to go do this, oh, I want to go do that, like, and I was like, where is she? Like, I want to see her too. So that was the only thing that was a little bit of a, for us, that was, like, okay. So
yeah, I'm really pumped for our Disney cruise next year. Honestly, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Are you doing how many days?
It's a 7-day.
Nice. That will be good.
Well, I was actually surprised that the Treasure was even doing a 7-day, because a lot of times with the new ships, they do shorter ones. Like when I was looking up the list recently, it was like 3 or 4 days. Like Utopia of the Seas was like 3 or 4 days. Like, so I was surprised to see 7 days on the Treasures, and I'm glad it's a longer cruise. We wanted to do a longer.
The Disney stuff being longer is nice because the amount of their shows are just so well done. Yeah, that it's worth going to see every single one of them. So I think that's kind of the fun part of a 7-day. Like we get to see all of them. They bring on some pretty good entertainment. I don't know. I have to think about that cruise because what month are you going?
May.
Yeah, a little too early for me.
We're like the first week of May, I think. Yeah,
because I think again we have to sneak in this Disney cruise, which is either going to have to be next year, or it's going to have to be early in the season the year after, because I think it's only 2 years for that 10% off.
Yeah.
So, and 10% off's a lot.
It is. It is. Yeah, it definitely is. All right. So I'm assuming people want us to talk about D23 stuff now. They're just tired of hearing about our vacations. But
I'm going to tell them that 26 minutes in, man, skip it all if you want.
I mean, yeah, you can do that. Yeah. But so I was joking that I'm going to call this. What's that? Yeah. What did you say, Trevor?
I said, I'm not skipping any of this. I want to go through. There's a lot to talk about here.
We were talking about skipping part of our vacation cruise stuff.
Yeah, the cruise stuff.
Oh, you mean the last 26 minutes that you guys were talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing, and we're going to go through these. There's a lot. I mean, coming back and just trying to compile all this was a lot of work.
A lot of work for Tom.
Yeah, a lot of work for Tom. Day off vacation, but really cool stuff going on. So, first of all, let's go to the Villains Land first, and
we preface this all though by saying is like we have no idea when any of this stuff is truly honest to goodness happening.
No, but I did notice that Josh D'Amaro said several times during his presentation, like, listen, and they actually say it in the post too, that these are real plans. These are not things that are like, potential.
Oh no, that's fine, but there's no dates on them. Yeah. Like, I mean, do we think some of this stuff might not be till 29, 31?
I mean,
we did have to preface it by saying that.
Yeah, I mean, they already started. I mean, they actually said that they're already filing permits to start the work for Villains Land and
some of them.
Beyond.
Yeah, for some of the stuff.
Yeah, but you're right. But we have no idea.
I would like to, point out that when Galaxy's Edge was built, that was like a 5-year endeavor. So to Damon's point is, if they're just talking, like even if they've already broken ground on some of these things, it could be another 5 years before we see them. So
yeah, you're 100% correct on that. I mean, it took them 5 years for Pandora too, right? Like it takes a long time to get these things done, and this particular project too is gonna there's a lot of work they have to do with clearing land and redirecting waterways.
It's gonna be like the Epcot. What's it called? The partitions all over again.
Yeah. Walcott. Well, hopefully we don't see too much of the Walcott here, but I find this interesting because the Villains Land thing was an internet thing for a long time, right? And nobody could ever confirm that it was real, right? Like, and even like one of the Disney historians said that the idea of the Dark Kingdom came from the internet, and that Imagineers never actually put one together. That the internet just came up with it. So, but now it's actually happening. I think this is interesting in a lot of ways. And Damon, you kind of talked about this on one of the episodes, is like, can Disney go hard scary with this?
I don't think they do. I think this is more of a response to what Epic Universe is doing. Like, I feel like they almost have to, because people were clamoring for it on the internet already for Disney. And now, like, hey, look, I don't care what anyone says. Disney has this huge gap where they're not going to have as much stuff as Universal. I think you got to have great announcements, which I think they've done here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't necessarily see it as, I think we're going to see as much scary as we saw in the original Snow White ride, which I thought, I guess was kind of scary to younger kids, right?
It was pretty scary, yeah.
Those original dark rides actually were legitimately scary, especially, I remember as a kid being freaked out coming off of those rides because
they
didn't know how to do like timing and like there was a lot of stuff that happened in those rides that became bad core memories.
Yeah, I think that we'll see that. Maybe we'll see something similar to Stitch, not necessarily Alien Encounter, maybe something more similar to Stitch, but without you walking around, but maybe the same sort of kind of concept. I think the walking around part made it scarier and made it more dangerous. But I don't see them going full out. But then again, I don't necessarily see Epic Universe going full out either, right?
Yeah.
I think there has to be some sort of balance. I like the idea, though. I think that they didn't have a choice, personally.
I'm just looking at the concept art here, and it looks pretty dark, and I don't want to call it scary, but it looks pretty dark. You have a dragon breathing fire. You have a lot of creepy elements. Go ahead, Trevor. Sorry.
I was going to say yes. The concept art always makes it look wonderful in that sense. Yeah. But
could you imagine if it looked like that? Oh my goodness!
If it does,
it would be very cool. The juxtaposition of Cinderella's castle and then like off in the background, like a dark castle and like all these like shadowy things there. Like that would be very cool to see, and does actually bring more to life the a lot of the concepts. Like if you look at Sleeping Beauty, it's like they start with very bright like. Fairy tale stuff, and then they get into like Maleficent and all that, and it is very very dark, right? Yeah. Like there is some there is some scary stuff in there. So
I think you also have to look at. Oh, I'm sorry, Trevor. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm really the only thing I'm hoping for from it is that there's some representation for Chernobog in there somewhere because I just think he's the best villain. Like
Well,
that's all I want.
I think there's going to be a little bit of, look, let's be honest. There's Disney Descendants, right? Mm-hmm. And you also have zombies.
Yeah.
And I think that, they're way more popular. Like, it's funny. My daughter doesn't watch those shows anymore per se. But when that new Disney Descendants came out, she was like complaining, like, well, what are you complaining about? She's like, no, we're going to watch it during like a sleepover. Like they're still like, even at that little bit older age, still dialed into them. So I'm hoping that it's not going to be something like that you could classify as villains, but is not necessarily what I would consider what I would want for villains. You get what I'm saying? That's what I kind of hope it's not.
I see this concept art as very, very like Maleficent centered.
This concept art is Stranger Things dystopian, kill everyone, run away from monsters, really.
and they did say in the presentation, right, that there's going to be 2 major attractions there, and you can actually see in the concept art a roller coaster on the bottom in a cave, in an open cave there, which. Listen, I would love if they kind of went really hardcore with this and like had like a ridiculous coaster, like a Velocicoaster kind of thing, like a really intense coaster.
I think we're going to get something along the lines of Expedition Everest, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But
that's what
which
isn't
does, bad.
That's not bad. Like,
no,
it won't be. Yeah, you're right. It won't be like Velocicoaster level,
crazy.
But that doesn't mean that Disney can't make a good experience out of it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what we're looking for here, right? Is a villain experience, not necessarily being scared that you wet yourself, but more along the lines of like, oh, that was cool. That was creepy. That was this, that was that, more than like being truly honest to goodness scared. You just can't do that because, as we said, people are going to take their kids there no matter what.
Oh yeah, no matter what you tell them, they're going to take their kids. Yeah,
absolutely. You're
unless you check IDs at the gate, they're not. There's no way that they're going to stop some people from taking their kids, right? But to your point, Damon, like there's a difference between creepy and scary, right?
Yeah, like I think it's the difference between Snow White and Alien Encounters. To be honest with you,
exactly, because like jump scares and stuff like that, or like alien encounter, like was the, basically sitting in darkness and, your senses just kind of tricking your mind into thinking things were there. Right. And like, that was legitimately scary. Like this stuff, I mean, even in the concept art just looks creepy and, kind of cool. Like just,
Yeah. So again, it's funny. I whoever wanted to skip over my vacation, sorry, I forgot. So we went to the haunted house that they have, the year-round haunted house.
Yeah.
Right now that we brought up villains. So this was interesting because it was during the day that we went, right? And it's a 3-level house with a basement. And I think the thing that you kind of find is then a lot of haunted houses, especially like, let's say at Busch Gardens or things like that, you're walking along with a bunch of people. Things become less scary. Things become less scary in the day as well, obviously, right? So we ended up going through, it was just me, my 2 sons, and my one son's girlfriend. And you're in this house and it's like an escape house. Like we had to like push a mantle in to like get through one of the rooms. Like you have to figure out how to get out of the rooms while you're being scared. Oh, it was crazy. It was pretty cool. But again, it was just us. So you're sitting there and it's just you. Yeah. That's not Disney, right? Yeah. Like we're not going to see that at Disney. There's going to be people around. There's going to be this. Now, what I'm hoping, what would be the best part of this land is if you could do something that's a little bit more time based, right? So, okay, we're going to have this land, and from it opens until 8:00. It's this. And that's kind of what they do at Busch Gardens, right? Like when you go to Hollow Scream.
It's not as scary, and then 8:00 it gets scary? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
After.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
They do that at Busch Gardens, and I like that.
I like that.
Maybe something like that could happen.
Once it gets dark, then it gets legitimately scary, right? Like
that would be great. That would be cool. Great.
Yeah. I mean, and you, at least if you do that, you have less of a chance of kids going into it that are choosing, right? Because my daughter goes to bed at 7:15 every night, right? So like by the time it gets dark, she's not awake anymore. So
most kids are done by fireworks. And so, things turned on.
Some adults are done by fireworks too.
Yes, true. But after fireworks, that's when the park really changes, right? And
I also wonder too, Trevor, to your point, if this gives them the opportunity to do a Halloween Horror Nights kind of thing at Magic Kingdom, to do Not So Scary Halloween Party, and then do a legitimately scary Halloween party.
I don't think so, but I would love that.
They could do it. They could.
I think the problem is it kind of messes with their IP a little bit.
It does,
right?
Yeah, it does.
And I think if you were to tell me that they're going to have a Maleficent, like scary, like just killing people, and like I mean, I'm there, right? Like I'm there, but I think their IP is too strong. I mean, really, if you gave me Death Troopers, I mean, I don't even know what I would say. I'd buy my tickets now. I might go down there and just wait it out at this point, right?
Just sit right by.
Sit in the park and wait. I don't think they'll do that. I wish they would, but I don't think they'll do that. But the thing is that I think they could do it so well, it would top what Universal does.
I agree. Yeah.
And just because of the IP, like Universal has to bring in different IPs all the time. And listen, I haven't been there, unfortunately. I've never been able to make those dates work. But again, it's still different because you're walking around with a bunch of people. But gosh, could you imagine? You got Death Troopers, you got Maleficent is, flying, killing people.
What if Marvel stuff? The whole zombie universe thing. Yeah.
Zombie universe.
Yeah. So much you could do. But I don't see it. I'm on record as saying I don't see it. I think that we're going to be stuck with some wussified version of Villains Land, but one never knows. I can hope.
It's hard to know because I even saw like there's a prominent person on YouTube that like is always criticizing Disney, and they were claiming that this is going to cause immense brand damage.
I wish
that was me. It's not. I mean, it's you, but more successful at it.
Oh, that's terrible
because they have hundreds of thousands of views. So no, it's they were trying to.
I want to be when I grow up.
Brand damage to them, and I don't think that that's true, right? Like I don't think Alien caused brand damage to them. I just don't think that that's the case.
But the thing is though, like I know you were talking about Damon at like the Halloween party. It's like they wouldn't like redo the branding of like the Not So Scary Halloween party to this, but
no,
it does bring up an interesting thing where they can actually separate it. Like there can be the Halloween party, and then it can be like, past this point is the serious stuff, right? And And the nice thing actually about Villains Land is that it gives them a contained space where they could actually push further with that. And it's clear, right? It's not like Alien Encounter where people, wander into it and kind of, don't realize what they're getting into. This is clear.
I think at that point, if you were to do something like that, you could say no kids under the age of whatever, right?
You can make it 18 plus only. You can make it 18
They can barrier it at,
Pleasure Island,
right past Haunted Mansion. Yeah. Right past Haunted Mansion. This is the big kid stuff.
I mean, they might as well just make it Purge at that point. Just a Purge.
Purge. They own the Purge. They might. I
don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I
don't think it happens just because of the logistics, and I think they do protect their brand IP in a different way than other people do. I don't know. Did you see that Mickey Mouse thing, by the way? I don't know why it came up on my feed.
Oh, the video game that's since.
No. It's not a video game. It's like you can talk to Mickey Mouse.
Oh, no, I didn't see that, no.
And I thought it was AI at first, but then I read further down and it's not. It's a person that talks like Mickey Mouse, and I guess like 15 people were able to try it, but they were talking about doing something in the park that would be AI based. That would be kind of cool.
Oh, that'd be
cool. Like just a turtle talk kind of thing, but
it was just a screen, like where you talk to him and he would interact with you and things like that. I mean, I think we're getting there. So
okay,
I don't know. I was just an aside.
I thought you were talking about that non-Disney game that's coming out where like Mickey's like doing a lot of things that Mickey would never do because he's now public domain. Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay,
right.
Yeah.
Let's move a little bit further south, the Villains Land, because from where it was mapped, Villains Land is going to be. It is beyond Big Thunder.
Yeah.
But they've said that they are doing some changes to Frontierland. The biggest thing, which, this has been the big conversation all week, is Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island are coming out based on the concept art, and they're going to be replaced by two new Cars attractions. There's going to be like a smaller kids attraction, and then there's going to be the bigger attraction, which it's not Radiator Springs Racers, but I'm definitely getting that vibe from it. But
it's doing like an off-road version of it.
Yeah, like an off-road version of it, which
an off-road test track.
Yeah, kind of.
Which I'm not mad about either.
Yeah. This one was one, Trevor, I got sound effects for this episode because we made predictions last week and I wanted to see if we were right or wrong. And so this one, I think we were a little bit wrong on.
Yeah.
Because
we were very wrong on this.
I wasn't on there.
Yeah.
I'm never wrong. So.
Yeah.
We
thought there was no way. We thought there was no way that they get rid of Tom Sawyer Island and America.
I don't know. Armchair quarterbacking that, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I would have said. I can't say I would have said one way or the other.
We kind of went back and forth on it. I don't think it's a total fail on our part, Trevor, because we kind of said, well, we can also see it, right? Like, because it's a huge piece of land. I mean, it's a gigantic piece of land. You said, I think you measured it out, Trevor, that it was like Galaxy's Edge size piece of land just for Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island. And, let's be honest, nobody goes to Tom Sawyer Island anymore. Like, I've gone to the Disney parks a lot, and I've been there once. Just one time total. And nobody's ever been like, oh, I need to go back to Tom Sawyer Island. Like, listen, I understand why people are upset about it. And I get it. But, I also think that this is a good idea. And I feel like it fits in really well with Adventureland, and it's going to fit in really well with Big Thunder. I'll be interested to see how they're going to do it. And, somebody on the Discord shared some of the other concept art where it looks like they're going to really incorporate a lot of water into it still. So there's going to be a lot of rivers running through it and waterfalls. And so you're going to have, and they said in this post, that the land's actually now going to have more kinetic energy to it. There's going to be moving water. It's not just going to be sitting there and, you have the boat. And by the way, that's an operational problem for Disney too. That boat is a crazy amount of maintenance for them. They have to take that thing out of service for a couple months a year just to keep it going. So not
just that boat, but also the rafts are, those are the only free floating rafts that are actually considered an attraction at this point. And there's a lot of safety issues that go with that. So I can see why, this is an opportunity for them to get rid of ancient stuff that, as much as we all like to keep the stuff out of nostalgia, realistically looking at it, it's probably time for them to go. And that's not to say that the Liberty Bell is going to disappear. They can put it somewhere else. Or I saw somebody say, it would be cool if they took the Liberty Bell and turned it into the crashed riverboat from Rescuers that Madame Medusa was living in. Like that, I was like, okay, that would be very, very cool if they did that. But yeah, the thing about, like, you were describing the whole, like, kinetic energy and like moving water and stuff. Very much so. I'm getting the vibe of, or because in California Adventure, the Grizzly Peaks area, it's very similar to what they've described in the concept art. Is like it's like a Northern California foresty type area, which again very much fits with Adventureland. Or not with Adventureland, Frontierland.
Frontierland. I knew what you meant.
Yeah, we both did that where we're confusing the two lands. But Frontierland is like it. I know when it's done, it will make sense, and it won't be like a jarring, this is not Frontierland type stuff. I actually think it'll look better at the end of the day. Like, it'll actually look a little more cohesive because of the fact that there won't be a large body of water in the middle. As much as we all liked, looking over at the island and stuff, the problem is it's just, you're just looking at it. You're not interacting with it. Yeah. Right. And I'm sure it'll be, far more exciting of an area. And then the other thing too, is that, we talked about the amount of space that is,
it's huge.
That suddenly turns into space that people are occupying again, which overall helps the park, in terms of, too many people being crowded in one area. I mean, obviously, when it's new and everything, it'll be busy, but it will still help with dispersing people around the park more evenly.
I am going to be interested to see how they set up the transition between like Liberty Square and this land, right? Like how that's going to transition, but then also how they're going to kind of cut it off from Haunted Mansion too, right? Because now you're looking at it being right next to Haunted Mansion. How are you going to make it so that those two things don't cross, which I'm sure they have a plan for, I'm sure they do, but looking at this concept art, and by the way, I want to give credit to Chris in Discord for sending this, and he had posted a series of tweets from a theme park analyst who is in the know on this stuff, right? And one of the things he said, major challenges exist to the river system and the drainage in the area. The foundation of the river is not in great shape. It's not great water. Like the nature of this river surrounding the island system also prevents construction on the island, so they really can't retain it. And then they also this is an interesting thing, and it makes a lot of sense. It says one of the key drivers to redo this was requested by park management, and that's to eliminate dead ends. So, and that's an interesting point, because Haunted Mansion, dead end. Right. And Thunder Mountain,
Thunder Mountain is a dead end. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, kind of hurts the flow of people. Right. And so this will, have almost, you'll have better flow of people going through these lands, because there's not going to be dead ends. It's going to, you can walk around all these things, which, is not a small thing. Also I think that logistically it was a difficult thing for them to maintain. And it's hard too, because when it's not that popular, right? Like I went on the Liberty Bell last time I was there was nobody on it.
I was going to say, the last time we were there too, for as busy as Magic Kingdom is, I've never seen a line for the boat launch at the Liberty Bell. Never.
I think getting upset about it is more about nostalgia rather than losing something. It's more about losing an original piece of the park, which I get, right? Like, and they are usually careful about that kind of stuff in Magic Kingdom more than other places. But, I don't think that this is a bad idea. I think Cars makes sense there, next to Big Thunder. It's the same kind of, that mountain thing they got going on. It's like the same kind of area. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it's that Northern California mountainy kind of, like it all does fit. And again, if you've seen how they've done it with like Cars Land and Grizzly Peak, they do, like, cohesively, theming wise, they do make sense. Like it's not jarring and like, this is, there's a Cars ride in the middle of this. It'll be like, oh yeah, they're like racing through through the forest. Like, okay, yeah, it's cars, but it's really no different than, you've got a train going through the mountains, and, they built up the story of Big Thunder as, it's this whole mining thing. And it's like, I'm sure that they'll do a good job of, making the cars thing make sense in the scope of Frontierland. So yeah, like I said, it's not anything that, all of us have the rose colored glasses for these things. And
of course, yeah,
Tom Sawyer's Island, same for me. Like, we've been there a couple of times, but when I really think back on it, it's like, when you're walking around the parks, you're not going, oh, I want to go over there. It's more of a, I got nothing better to do. Let's go over there, I guess. But, and then a lot of times it's like, I'm not going over there because it takes time to get there. Like, it's actually highly inconvenient to get on and off of the island.
It really is.
And yeah, it's unfortunately, yeah, it's just become one of these things that, we want to believe that it'll be there forever, but nobody remembers that there was a pirate ship restaurant in Fantasyland in Disneyland, because that existed. Yeah, it's long gone, right? So, unfortunately, this hurts for us right now, but when it's done, and after a period of time, it'll be oh yeah, we have fond memories, and you have every right to have memories of these rides, but that doesn't mean that the rides have to stay around forever.
Well, and the other part to this is putting cars there right next to what's going to be Villains Land is like
a good.
Yeah, it's like here's the family friendly thing, and here's the maybe not so family friendly thing, right?
Yeah, and it gives that clear line where it's like, the kids can go and do this, and then don't turn right and go past Haunted Mansion. Like,
yeah. Well, and no matter what you think about the Cars movies, they were tremendously successful at the box office, and from what I've read too, they're one of the highest.
Who thinks they're bad?
No, some people do. I mean, some people like them, but they're
what?
Yeah, I'm serious. I've seen some people, but Trevor, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say. I mean, Cars was a staple in our house forever.
Yeah,
like, it was a huge part of my son's childhood. Now he'll say like, I don't care, but he still definitely has memories of it. And yeah, again, we've seen seeing what they've done with Cars Land. I'm not afraid of what Disney's going to do with this, because Cars Land is one of their best projects that they've done as a themed land, in my opinion. Like hands down, it's a good IP. It absolutely is.
That's good. The interesting thing here is they say there's going to be two rides, one for one a little more intense, and then one for the whole family. Like, so something a little
a Mater's Junkyard Jamboree kind of thing versus Radiator Springs.
Interestingly, though, Trevor, I'm looking closely at the concept art, right? Like the big concept art of what the whole land's going to look like. Mm-hmm. To me, I see the racer ride, but I also seem to see a boat ride. I feel like I'm seeing a boat ride where the waterfall is, and there's a drop there, and there's the boats going around this river. I don't know if that's what the second ride is, but
you think they're going to do like a Kali River Rapids?
But these look like regular boats, though. They don't look like the round boats. They look like I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know what they're going to do, but I mean, it's certainly interesting. Like,
I didn't consider that as, I guess that could be considered the more like family friendly ride if it's not as rough as like a Kali.
Unless I'm misseeing this, and this is part of the car ride, right? Maybe this is part of the car ride.
Yeah,
you go down this mountain or whatever. Like it could be, because I'm just trying to find where the family friendly ride is, and I'm not seeing it in this. Again, it's concept art, right? Like it's not complete.
In my head, like there is that building back near Big Thunder, and I feel like that would be it. And again, just because it like alien swirling saucers, it's the same kind of thing where it's like just a small, teacups, whiplash, whatever type ride that is, is put in the land, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, because, those rides are great because, they do appeal to all ages. It's not just for little kids. They appeal to all ages, but it's also self-contained enough that it's not taking away from the bigger attraction. So that's where my head's going with it. But you're right that it could actually be that what we're looking at is a split between, not one big ride, but maybe like there's the racer ride, but then also a water ride of some sort. That's an interesting way to
yeah,
approach it too.
But I might just be seeing it wrong, right? Like, because I could also see it being part of. It kind of looks like water, but also kind of looks like roadway. So
yeah,
it could just.
I was looking at it as like mountain trail kind of thing.
I think that might be what it is. I think I'm looking at this wrong. I just need to see where the other ride is going to be. I mean, maybe up in that corner there. I don't know, but. Listen, this is encouraging. We had talked about a rumor about this a while ago about it being cars, and I think at the time we were in favor of that because it does mix in so well with Frontierland. It's almost like an expansion of Frontierland as opposed to Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. Like that's really what they're doing is they're expanding Frontierland.
Yeah. This is definitely a Frontierland expansion, but yes. It's also neat though that they're kind of doubling down on the opportunity of they're expanding Frontierland, but then also using that as the bridge into Beyond Big Thunder.
Yeah.
Versus like, trying to do them as two separate things or make a new path behind Big Thunder Mountain or something like that. Like this actually lets them better, back to the point about creating loops instead of dead ends.
Yeah.
Is that they can actually do all this up front. And I think you'll actually get a path like, where you come out of Big Thunder, how that's like just like right on the riverfront and it is the dead end. I think you may see that actually becomes the path up into the Cars area / maybe towards Villains Land as well. Like,
I'll be interested to see where Villains Land ends up because like initially they talked about it being like behind Haunted Mansion and that maybe you could walk from Haunted Mansion to Villains Land and kind of continue into that kind of creepy kind of vibe. So it'll be interesting to see where they actually put that and where they put the entrances for that and how that, melds into Haunted Mansion. And it makes, now that they're going to get rid of Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island, they're going to have all this space to put paths next to Haunted Mansion. Cause anybody that's been on Haunted Mansion knows the queue is right next to water, right? Like it's water. So, but now it's going to be land. So now you can make a pathway that goes by. You will actually have a walking path there that's what I'm envisioning is exactly that is there will be a path that,
just continues that up into Villains Land. But then I also, like I said, I see the paths being in front of Big Thunder and in front of Haunted Mansion versus I used to think that, or it made sense to me that they would take the where the railroad is, and connect that, like make that into a path that goes like under the railroad and back behind it. And they could still do that, but like this way feels, I don't know, it feels like it would connect better in front of Big Thunder and kind of make Big Thunder like a bookend of Frontierland, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. So one more thing for Magic Kingdom, and this we got this one right.
Yeah.
So all new nighttime parade coming to Magic Kingdom, which I'm excited about. I think Magic Kingdom has been really missing Main Street Electrical Parade. I've talked about this before. One of my earliest memories from Disney parks was the Main Street Electrical Parade at night. Like I remember being young and getting to stay up super late and, getting to watch this parade. And, I think that's a huge thing. And I'm very happy they're bringing a new one. Although I'm sad to, I still love Main Street Electrical Parade, but I'm glad to see a new one. Right. And this looks like it's going to be cool. We don't have a lot of details, right? We just know that it's going to be called, was it Disney Starlight? Yep. So that's the name of it. It looks like they're going to really go, kind of in the direction, I guess, of Paint the Night, Trevor, right? Like with the really, the newer technology and the
over the top LED stuff that is just fantastic for nighttime parades.
Absolutely.
Like the Encanto float that they're presenting here, I can totally see how that's going to work.
Absolutely.
Like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And this is, I think this is going to be an awesome parade. And really, we only have like two pieces of concept art for this, but that's okay. They're still working on it. This will be, they're going to start this. When is it? Was it summer next year? I'm trying to find where it's
summer 2025 is what they said.
That's great. And I'm excited for this. I really am. I really love the parades in general. I love the nighttime parades. The one thing we did get wrong, Trevor, is no new daytime parade.
that
no new daytime parade.
I forgot actually that we were thinking that was coming, but I guess they don't feel that the current one needs to be changed, which is yeah.
I mean, maybe here's the thing though too. Like let's all keep this in mind, right? They announced a ton of stuff at D23 and they had limited time, right? All this, and they preface this with every single thing we talk about in this presentation is happening, right? There's dirt moving, the plans are done, it's happening right now. Which means they really couldn't announce anything else that they're kind of working on. You know what I mean? Like, so there's other things they haven't announced yet that they're definitely working on that they weren't ready to announce yet. Because again, they made that statement during the presentation. All of the things we're talking about today are happening, right? So they can't, talk about like, a Figment redo when they're not ready to talk about it yet, or it's not been approved yet, or it's not completed yet. Like that's, There could be a lot more things in the pipeline. And listen, Disney's been known to do this too. They make big announcements at D23, but they'll also announce a new ride through a blog post too. I mean, they've done it. So it's, we can still see more things in the future. This is just the things that are happening right now, right?
Yeah. Things that are currently in motion. So
exactly. Yeah. So I'm pumped for this though. Peter Pan, Encanto, Frozen. I don't know why we keep putting Peter Pan in things, but no offense to Peter Pan fans, but it's like there hasn't been like a new Peter Pan thing, I feel like, in a long time. But Peter Pan keeps showing up and everything. There
has been new Peter Pan things, but they haven't been well received, I guess.
A relevant one, let's say.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so I mean, Encanto and Frozen, great. My daughter's going to love both of those things. We'll have to see, what else is going to end up being in there. They do also mention in here too, there's going to be a nighttime spectacular called Reach the Stars that's debuting at Tokyo Disneyland on September 20th. And then also in January 2025, can't speak. Disneyland Paris will get its own nighttime spectacular as well, with projections on Sleeping Beauty Castle and down Main Street as well. So that's a whole bunch of new stuff coming for nighttime. I think we should,
good for you nighttime people. Yeah, we should do the ad and then we we'll continue the rest.
We have a million other things to do. We only talked about Magic Kingdom in a half hour. So
but some of these other ones won't be as long. Yeah, Magic Kingdom was honestly pretty big. But let's do the ad.
The sponsor of this episode is DVC Rental Store. The DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com/welcome home or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. And be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right, we got so many other things to talk about. My goodness.
Let's quickly talk about Epcot. I mean, there's not a lot. I don't think we need to go into this in too much depth, just that we do know that Test Track is opening in, I believe they said winter 2025,
which I actually think we got right. We said late last year, and late next year. I mean, Interestingly enough, though, we didn't get a lot about the concept, so we thought we would get a lot more detail, but we're really only getting a little bit here, and I'm not feeling great about it, to be honest with you.
Why is that?
Okay, I'll tell you why. So. Walt Disney Imagineering, I'm reading directly from the Parks blog. Walt Disney Imagineering is collaborating with Chevrolet to push innovation forward and celebrate humanity's enduring drive on the thrilling road to a brighter tomorrow. But before we get too far down this winding road, Test Track will celebrate today's innovation while highlighting the past, present, and future. The queue will feature 6 distinct exhibits, and with each room, celebrate vehicles and the people behind the vehicles that push the envelope. That just feels like a really big ad for Chevrolet, and I just don't love that. I love the idea of, showing the people behind the vehicles. Great, they get credit for the work that they did, but it's just, I don't know. It just feels like, hey, here's the people that designed all these Chevrolet cars. I just don't love it.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking of it more in the larger scope of like, hey, the original Model T, and which, I mean, it's. I can see the point there that if it turns into a giant ad, then that's not great. I mean, the way it is right now, I don't know that it's any better.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point, Trevor. They do say new show scenes will be added, showcasing technological advances and how our lifestyles and relationships to mobility connect everyone. Enjoy a joyride through scenes focusing on onboard technology, customization, and personalization, followed by a trip through a scenic outdoor route reminding us all of the joys of driving, taking in the world around us, and spending quality time with friends and family. I don't know. I gained nothing from reading that.
That's a lot of fluff.
It is. Yeah. So general. Very general. And that's fine. Like, I just thought we would get more details than that. I thought maybe we get another piece of concept art, but we got what we got.
But again, this was just, this was not a big thing at D23 anyway. So yeah, we can come back to this when it actually gets closer to opening and see how bad it actually is. But yeah, for now, let's, Hollywood Studios.
This is a big right for us. This is we got this one right.
So the door coaster is happening, which is, I was so excited when I saw that. But okay, so they're doing a Monsters Inc. land. The big debate I've seen is is it going to be taking over the Muppets Courtyard, or is it going to be at the animation or not Animation Academy? What is that area called?
Yeah, it's the animation,
the former Animation Academy / Star Wars launch bay, like all that like whole. The thing for me is I want to believe that it's going to be over
the animation
on that side.
Yeah.
Because it's not like that area is not used whatsoever.
There's nothing there.
And why would you take out Muppets? Like,
if they take out Muppets, that's just going to be disaster.
Well,
right? Yeah,
you can't.
No, they can't take out Muppets, but they
can. But
yeah, they can. But
what do we have? We just had 2 Muppets shows, right? So I just feel like why?
I would rather them do an update to the Muppets 3D show. Right, like that would be much better, just to do something different there.
The other implication of doing that too is that it wouldn't just take over Muppets Courtyard; it would also potentially take down Star Tours, which again
shouldn't be there anyway. To be honest,
well, it's in the wrong place. Yeah,
but Star Tours
going to do that.
Yeah. Star Tours is still close enough to Galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is close enough. It's like. It shouldn't be there, but they don't have a choice. So.
Yeah, they don't have a choice.
But so to me, it doesn't make sense that they would do it on the Muppet side. The other thing I saw too is, the concept art that people were getting panicked over was from 4 years ago. So somebody knows that the signature on it was from 2020.
Oh, okay.
Which says, that was like early concept art and doesn't necessarily, and this is something to keep in mind with all the concept art is that, these drawings are done years in advance and is like, somebody's showing off the initial idea of it. And it never, it never comes to fruition the way that it looks in the concept art. So I think, they may have been initially toying with the idea of taking over the Muppets Courtyard, but I feel like somebody probably looked and went, hey, we have an entire dead space in the park. Like, we just finished talking about Tom Sawyer's Island. The animation courtyard is a way worse example of that because there's not even anything there. Like it's like if you walk in there, it's literally just a giant empty space with nothing.
And remember too, that's a much larger space than the Muppets Courtyard, right? That Muppets area is not that big, and they don't have a ton of space to put a whole new land in there, especially with, based on this concept art, what they're trying to do. I mean, it looks like they're actually trying to build like the little monster worlds, right? Where you can get like, monster ice cream and there's all sorts of monster themed buildings. Then of course the Monsters Inc. building, but like, to me, by the way, I also have an article linked in here that the rumor is that it is not taking over where Muppets is going to be, that it is going to be taking over the animation building, which is where Star Wars Launch Bay is. And to your point, like we've been saying this, there's nothing there. It's just take that out. There's no reason to get rid of Muppets when there's all this available space over there. So and there's some backstage area they can use too. So I tend to believe the rumor that they're going to use the animation building over there. But the other thing we have here with this Monsters Inc. piece, it looks like it's just one ride, right? We're just getting one ride there, which is fine. But this is the first suspended roller coaster that Disney's ever built. So that's something new, which is, good for that. It's not revolutionary or anything, but it's the first one that they've done, right?
Yeah, suspended coasters are fun. And for this particular thing, like, it really adds to the feeling of flying through the doors, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have a track underneath you.
Exactly. And actually, too, the one thing I liked what did he say that Josh said? Where is it? Oh, he goes, remember in the movie how those claws grab the doors and hoist them up in the air to take them away? We're doing that too when you're going along for the ride. So obviously they're doing something where you're going to be picked up, with the door up onto the track. I don't know how that's going to work, but that should be pretty cool. And people have been talking about a door coaster forever. I think we all assumed it was just going to replace Rock and Roller Coaster and not be wholesale new, but listen, this is Damon, what you're always saying, build new stuff. Don't get rid of old stuff. Right. And this is what they're doing. They're building something wholesale new. So,
I mean, I hope it's thrilling enough because it lends itself to being able to be super thrilling. I just hope it's not like Peter Pan.
Yeah, I don't think it's Peter Pan. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Because you can make there's my local theme park has a suspended kids roller coaster, right? And you could make it kind of slow, but I feel like they're not going to. I feel like this is going to be a pretty cool experience.
I hope that Guardians is the bar that they're using for minimum level of excitement. I'm not saying it has to be a clone of Guardians, but they did some really cool stuff with Guardians in terms of yes, it's not a revolutionary coaster, but the flow of the ride and how they presented it, they can do the same thing but better with Monsters Inc. Because there's nothing saying that these suspended cars have to be stationary. They could, having them turn as well. I hope we see something like that. That is not just a straight suspended coaster. I hope that. That Disney is great at the storytelling through the rides, right? It needs to have a cool action scene. It should be in the movie. It should feel like you're in the movie. And
absolutely.
If they just make it a coaster and don't, or like you said, make it like Peter Pan or something. Yeah, they missed an opportunity there.
Well, and also I'm just looking here. So I'm looking at the additional article I sent with the actual model of what the roller coaster may look like. They were clear that this wasn't necessarily what it's going to be, but you can see at the station. So I was thinking they were just going to simulate the whole picking up the roller coaster thing. They're not going to simulate that. They're actually going to pick the track up. You can actually see it in this model. The two different stations where it's going to go from the bottom to the top. But I also note here that there's no lift hill, right? So this is going to be a launched ride, right? I mean, at least in this concept, there's no lift hill at all.
I mean, it doesn't need a lift hill. That's the cool thing.
If you're lifting it up,
but also, the way that magnetic launches and everything work now is that you can get going real fast from a a dead stop.
Yeah.
And they don't need to, it's nice actually that, they don't need to necessarily do the lift hill, but they can have all the craziness and chaoticness of the, flying through the doors. Right.
Yeah. I also really like too, the concept art for the actual ride vehicle where they made them look like you're sitting in the laugh canisters, which is just pretty cool.
It's following the same design as the Monsters Inc. tech.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, in this one piece of concept art, you have Sully and Mike and Boo riding on a door next to you. I mean, I don't know if they're actually going to do that, but if they do, that will also be cool if they could ride along. But I'm excited for this. I think this looks really cool, and I'm glad that they're adding something around this. And I really like Monsters Inc. as a movie, as does my daughter. So I feel like this is long due in the parks. And Trevor, you've been asking for a while now to have, you wanted more in between rides though. And this is not really, it doesn't look like it's going to be an in betweener, but
no, unfortunately it's not. It's just adding to, the list of, big rides at Hollywood Studios. And fine, that's what they want Hollywood Studios to be, is that, if it's where all the big rides are, then I guess I know what that is. And I can decide. The only thing for me is that means, I'll go there for those rides, but it's not going to make me hang out in the park. I'll go hit those one or two and then I'll be out and somewhere else because that's the only disappointing thing is that, they haven't figured out how to get those people eater rides into Hollywood Studios.
They're just like exactly. So I mean, look, this is cool. They're saying they're going to start construction next year. So, listen, we should probably get used to, for the next 5 years at least, there being a lot of cranes floating around.
There's going to be walls in every park.
Yeah.
Like, no matter where you go, there's going to be construction walls for the next little while.
100%. Yeah. And so let's hope this rumor is true. I think Disney will eventually confirm where they're going to put the land, and that they won't be replacing Muppets. I don't believe they're going to replace Muppets. I think this is going to go in that unused area where that animation building is, and they're going to create a whole land back there, and use some of the backstage area to make this really big. And I mean, look, this building that they're going to house the ride in looks huge. I mean, and in the movie it's huge, right? But in this concept art, it also looks like it's very large. So, this is going to, I don't know if it's going to be the level of like Guardians show building, which is like, I think the biggest show building ever. But we'll have to see. But
the funny thing about that is that if you look in Monsters Inc., like the building, the factor, what was it? The scare factory that they worked in? Yeah.
Scare floor.
That it was, the funny thing is that it was just a big building. Like it had the front to it and everything. And as long as they do that design where, it fits into the universe of monsters, that's actually the one place where you can have a big show building and it doesn't actually look, or it fits in with what they're trying to do, which is very funny. Like it is. It'll be the one time where, the building, it won't be the eyesore. And also because, if it does go where the Animation Academy was, you've already got the Rock and Roller Coaster there. So it's not going to, I think the biggest problem with Guardians is that there's nothing else around it. And there's just this big building. It's
right at the entrance of the park, basically.
Yeah. If it's kind of blended in, I know you can't really blend in a big building, but if it's fit in with everything else around it, I don't think it's going to be, jarring the same way that Guardians was.
Yeah. Let's hope not. Yeah. So again, I think this is another positive development. I think this is great. I'm excited to see it. And again, these are the great thing about all these things is that we can actually talk about them and that know that they're happening. Like these are not things that they're talking about and that are going to get canceled. These are all things that are moving forward.
Yeah, we're done with Blue Sky.
You never know if anything can be canceled.
No,
let's not say that.
But they said pretty clearly that all of these things are moving forward.
Yeah.
They're getting built. Right.
So let's talk about the last thing at Hollywood Studios, which this is the most underwhelming thing to me. And not because it's cool. They are updating Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, but they chose to add the Mandalorian and Grogu to it, which was that really necessary?
Yes. That's it's tremendously popular.
I know it is, but I don't know. I feel like
they went the easy route. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's the easy way. Like there's a lot more stuff they could have done with it, but I guess this opens the door to, Millennium Falcon's going to get the same treatment as Star Tours,
which is good.
Where it'll get perpetual updates, which, okay, that's the good thing about this.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and also you have to remember too, they also announced at this event that there's going to be a Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which is going to be, out in 2026. So
wait, they said there's going to be a movie? I must have missed that.
Yeah. They announced a movie. It's called The Mandalorian and Grogu. And that's in 2026.
That's so stupid. Why though?
Yeah. Right? Like,
what do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, why? We have a show.
I guess they wanted to make a movie. I don't know.
Oh, that's a money grab.
Probably, yeah. But it's probably going to be a successful one because it's, like I said, it's tremendously popular. But Grogu is still tremendously popular. I was on the cruise ship, actually. I saw a painting of Grogu at the art gallery. And I asked... I asked the guy how much it was, and it was like $750. I was like, get out of here.
Why didn't you buy it?
I'm gonna spend $750 on a Grogu painting. That's more than I spent on a lot of things on the cruise. So, yeah.
Wait, what did you spend extra on the cruise?
Drinks here and there, and gambling.
Okay.
Yeah, it was mostly gambling and drinks, really. I think my wife did a upgraded dinner one night, but outside of that, not too much.
Wait, without you?
No. She did like at
You
the
made
regular main dining room. She
Yeah.
got lobster tail.
Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah, so you have to
Made
pay
it seem
like
like she went to one of the
$16
specialty restaurants without you. I was like,
No.
that's interesting.
I will say we did do one of the specialty restaurants together, and that
Which
was
one
fantastic.
was that?
Giovanni's, which was very, very
dude,
good.
like, how can you do Italian food, though?
I love Italian food. That's how.
Yeah, but it's on a cruise. It's not in New Jersey or New York. The only two places you're allowed to eat.
It was fantastic. I'm telling you, it was really, really fantastic.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was the best meal we had by far on the ship.
But what did you have?
Chicken piccata.
Okay, and what did it rank in terms of all the chicken piccata you've ever had?
It's probably the best chicken piccata I'd ever had.
I might need to just log off it.
It was really good.
There's no way.
We also had to Mando and Grogu.
Well, yeah, no, I had some other stuff too, but it was good. It was really, really good, man. I highly recommend it. So,
okay.
I don't know. I think this is a good thing. I understand your feelings about it, but I also think that they're trying to appeal to the masses with this, and
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not discounting. Yes, I know that the Mandalorian and all that is a big thing, but I just don't like the fact that Disney, like, there's so much stuff they could do with Star Wars, and the Mandalorian started off well, but then they keep trying to tie it back into like or everything has to tie back into like the main movies in some way. Like it can't there can't just be things that exist on their own, right? Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I that's my only thing with it, is that it just feels like you said, everything feels like at this point Star Wars is just too much of a money grab. But I think that's because
everyone hated the Acolyte, and I kind of thought it was interesting. I don't know why everyone hated it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that they do stuff like that where they try and branch off, and I just don't understand why people aren't, more accepting of the fact that there's more stories to tell than the mainline one.
Well, and I mean,
Death Troopers. That's it. That's all I ever want is Death Troopers and holograms, and I'm happy.
I mean, I also heard, Andor was fantastic. A lot of people talked about how great Andor was, but
no interest. It's the same, like Trevor's saying. It's like it's the same story. Like, okay.
Well, no, that particular one I think was completely disconnected from the broader story.
But how is it disconnected from the broader story when the whole
just like lives in that world?
Yeah, but in the broader story, we have Andor and it being blown up, right? Like, so
yeah, but that's not what the show is about. It's
okay. So then make it about Irpa, the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, it still files into the main story. Like, why can't we just get something totally out of the blue?
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. All right. Now that we've completely gone off the rails.
Yes.
Let's get to Animal Kingdom. This is something we've known about. This was not necessarily new news, but they did confirm some of the things that we had discussed. I think that deserves a right bell from us.
Yeah. So Indy is coming to Animal Kingdom,
but not the Indy from Disneyland,
which is fine, and
which is great. I think it's great.
Yeah, this is good. This is really good because it means that they're not limited by what was done in Disneyland, and we get a whole new Indiana Jones ride. Like that, exactly. That's amazing. And then the Encanto. So sorry for the Encanto thing. Did they? There was a lot going on, and I'll admit I may have blacked out at some points during the announcements. But is it a ride or is it?
It's a ride.
Okay, so it is a proper ride.
Yeah. So they're saying the concept, it's a ride through attraction, which you'll go inside the casita, and Antonio's just received a special gift, the ability to communicate with animals, and his room is transformed into a rainforest, and then we go along with him to explore the rainforest. That was in there. So, and it looks like
perfectly fine.
Yeah, it sounds great to me. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out exactly what kind of ride vehicle this is. It kind of looks like a trackless vehicle, but I'm not sure.
I see what you're looking at now. I mean, they love their trackless vehicles. So
I find trackless stuff to be magical because you don't know where you're going. It's I don't know. There's so much cool stuff you can do with it. So.
Yeah. And it does change up the ride every time. And my only thing about that is, there will definitely be screens involved in this.
Of course.
Too many screens though is a bad thing in my opinion.
You gotta have the balance.
There has to be that balance between like actual animatronics and like like real elements and just.
What do you think about Ratatouille then?
Ratatouille's okay. It does do pretty well with that. I feel that there's a few spots in the ride where they just, and I mean, Mickey and Minnie's does this too, where like they basically shove you in a corner and you're just watching a screen for like 30 seconds, which I don't like that part of those rides. That's the one part that I wish they wouldn't do, is like put you in a corner and basically like, here, watch this movie for 30 seconds. Like,
well, I think they partly do that for the operational reasons, right? Like where they need a place for you to pause while the other ones unload. That's part.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah.
And they also charge the vehicles too while they sit there too. If you never noticed, there's a charging plate that sits there and they charge the vehicles. But I actually think the one that gets the balance correct is Rise of the Resistance, where they have a lot of physical sets and then they complement it with some screens, and the screens are not overwhelming. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And also, again, looking at what they've done in the international parks where, there is definitely still screens, but it's, like I said, the biggest thing is I feel it's the cheapest out when they put you into a corner. And I get they're using it for the charging and whatever, but when it's literally like you're just watching a screen and it's like, I'm not on this ride just to sit in front of a screen. Right? I get that. No, I totally understand that. And also from the videos I've seen of Tiana's, I've not gone on it, but it seemed like they used a good amount of physical versus they have some screens in there, maybe a little bit too many screens, but I think they did a lot of animatronics in that ride. So maybe they had a decent balance too. I do think that Disney doesn't want to use as many screens if they have the budget to not use as many. But yeah, I know what you're saying, Trevor. I do think this has an opportunity to be very cool. The concept art of the casita is really, really cool. And the idea that you're going to be able to walk up into it, I think is going to be really neat. And what they're saying here is this land is set to begin. They're going to begin in the fall, and it's going to open in 2027. So we got 3 years for that. They're also saying that you'll have plenty of time to experience Dinosaur again, because they're going to do this in a phased manner. So Dinosaur, I think, is going to be there for a little while still.
So Dinosaur is not going to immediately close. It's still going to be there, but Dino Land will be gone.
It's exactly. My guess is that they're going to start clearing all the stuff that's not Dinosaur, and knock out all that land and just like kind of have everybody filter everybody continuing into Dinosaur. And then once, eventually, obviously they'll have to close Dinosaur to get to that part. But I think in the beginning, they'll keep it open. I'm excited for this, but I also am a little bit disappointed because my daughter does love Dino Land. She loves the playground that's there, and she loves, like the Midway games and all that kind of stuff, and also Triceratops Spin. But that's a little sad for me. But at the same time, I think this needs to be done, and I'm glad they're doing it.
So here's the interesting thing in the concept art. There looks to be a carousel.
There's a carousel, ride. Yeah. They're doing a carousel, yeah. So
I don't think I feel like the area is going to, like, I know what you're saying about it's going, it felt like a really great place for your kids. I feel like that's still going to exist. I feel like it's going to be that still. It's just going to be flavored more towards Encanto and the South Americas and all that, which again is great. There should be some unique theming to these areas. And I feel, like you said, the problem is in the short term, it's, you don't have that space where you can go with your daughter and, let her go in and play and all that. Yeah. So.
Oh, by the way, this is going to be, the land is going to be called Pueblo Esperanza. That's the name of it. So that's what they're calling it.
I'm going to mispronounce that so many times.
You're just going to keep calling it Dino Land.
Where's the new Dino Land?
Yeah, where's Dino Land at? Can I go ride Indiana Jones and Dino Land? It's going to be like MGM. People still call it MGM, even though it's not been MGM in a long time.
Or to Dino Land, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're also saying there's a large hacienda which will be one of the largest quick service restaurants at Disney World. So they're building a huge quick service.
You can see that in the concept art. Like it looks like it's that space right in front of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like that's That's a huge building.
It is a gigantic building. I mean, is that where Restaurantosaurus is? Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So they're just gonna repurpose Restaurantosaurus.
Well, I think they're going to expand on it.
Yes,
probably.
It looks like it. Yeah,
because Restaurantosaurus was kind of set up a little weird, but
yes.
I think this is going to be a redo,
a cohesive building.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. And so they're gonna have a big fountain in the middle. They're like you said, they're gonna have a new carousel, which is great. I'm excited to see that. But they're gonna have the 2 signature attractions in this land. So we got a couple of years to wait for this. The other exciting thing I have on here is that speaking of scary Disney attractions,
it's inadvertently scary Disney attractions. Yeah,
I've talked about this before. Every single time I've done it, it's tough to be a bug. They make like 10 announcements, like this will be scary for children. Take your children out. And every single time at the end of it, there are children crying. That's just every single time. So the good news is it's tough to be a bug is going away. And there will be a new show themed to Zootopia, which actually this makes a lot of sense because they're going to take guests through the different biomes that you see in the film. And if you've seen Zootopia, it's basically there's different biomes like all around. So for each one of the different kinds of animals, and it's very cool. So I feel like this is a cool way to do this and also have a show that's maybe not terrifying for children.
Yeah, and also give you this lets them play more with a lot of the 4D elements. I feel exactly. because there is like you said, the different biomes in Zootopia, they can do a lot of stuff in the theater that will add to the interactivity of it and make it a good show without, like you said, it'll be fun and entertaining and not making children cry because somebody decided that spiders coming down from the ceiling was a good decision.
And also bees stinging you. And listen, my wife refuses to do this show. She does not like it. She does not like spiders. She doesn't like it creeps her out. So I haven't done this in a long time, and now I'm going to be able to do this again. And truthfully, I love that the theater is under the Tree of Life. Like walking up there is an experience, man. Like you get to walk really close to the tree and it's really amazing theming, just getting to the theater and even being in it, being underneath it.
And the AC in that queue is amazing when you get down under the Tree of Life.
You're right. You know what? You're right.
It's nice and cool down there, right?
It is. That's true. That's true. All right, that's all we got for Disney World. I don't think I forgot anything, but hopefully...
No, I mean, that's kind of all the big stuff that they talked about. And we do have some Disneyland stuff here, which...
Quite a bit of Disneyland stuff, actually.
Yeah.
So the first Coco ride ever has been announced. So they're going to build a Coco ride in California Adventure. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's not interesting to me that they're bringing it to California Adventure because they do a lot of Coco related things in Disneyland and California Adventure, right?
Yes. It's very much been the place where they've done everything Coco related.
Yeah. But I also still was of the belief that they were going to change Three Caballeros into Coco. I really thought that was happening at some point. Not necessarily now. I didn't think they were going to announce that now, but I'm surprised they're making a standalone ride now.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that Three Caballeros didn't get touched, and that they're they are keeping this very contained to DCA, which is like you said, everything around this has already existed there, so it is the next logical step. And honestly, I'm just excited to see so it's a boat ride. This is the cool thing is that it's a boat ride, but I'm excited to see what they do with it because, again, we've talked about all the new animatronics and tech and everything. Coco is a very vibrant show. There's a lot of animation. There's a lot of stuff going on in that world. I'm interested to see what the end result of this ride is.
Well, to your point, though, Trevor, right? And they actually Josh said this, right? So we're bringing our skeletal cast of characters to life in a big way through the latest audio animatronics technology. These figures will appear in ways you'll have to see to believe. I'm imagining, because if you see the movie, I mean, their heads fall off all the time.
The skeletons falling apart and stuff. Having an animatronic do that is kind of.
If they can pull that off in an animatronic, I will be shocked.
Oh, they will. I'm sure they will. I mean, I guess the biggest question is how good will the effect look?
That's
right?
Yeah, that's part of the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will note that this one is not opening in 2026, but they will start working on it in 2026.
So that's still
we're a ways off on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is a ways away. This is probably more of a 5 years from now as opposed to, next year or the next couple of years here. So, yeah. So that one is, that one's happening again, but it's not till 2026.
Yeah.
So when it's going to be built.
Speaking of boat rides, so the next thing on here is, so they've talked about the new Avatar land coming to California, and it's going to be another boat ride, but this one looks like it
looks intense.
Yeah, I feel like this is Navi River Journey like cranked up.
They took Navi River Journey and made it kind of scary.
With the big shark or whale
jumping out of the water.
Jumping out of the water, and from what I understand, so this is part of they are working on expansion in Disneyland. So this is not taking over anything existing. This is actually going to be part of the new expansion area that they're working on.
Yeah.
Which again, I have no idea how they're going to do that, because it's I know they have a plan for it, but it's really hard to visualize because Disneyland is very cramped in the area that it's in. And it's like, okay, there's going to be a whole area here. But again, I didn't expect them to do with Cars Land what they did. And they managed to make Cars Land look amazing in the space that it's in.
And this looks pretty big. It looks decently big. It looks like you still got some floating mountains going around. You have that really cool circular rock formation thing with the waterfall coming out. Mm-hmm. Actually, we predicted this was going to be a boat ride, didn't we? I think we said it was going to be a boat ride a while ago, but
yeah, because from the concept art we were looking at a boat. Yeah, that we were pretty sure we're like that. This looks like it's going to be like a Pirates of the Caribbean type thing, and so it does look like that. But I think this is going to be like the Shanghai Pirates, is what I'm feeling.
But scary though. The third piece of concept art they have in here is legitimately scary.
Yeah, the dark swampy looking area with the bioluminescent water and everything. Yeah,
if this looks anything like that, it's going to be kind of a terrifying ride. Now, he does say on here, what does he say? It's going to be a thrilling attraction. So it's not going to be like a kid ride, right? It's going to be, thrilling for Disney, but it says this new and thrilling excursion will bring all the action, excitement, and wonder of Avatar, taking guests all over the wide open seas of Pandora. Dynamic, intense, and emotional experience on a grand scale that we know our guests will love, is what he says. So, yeah, this looks like it's going to be an intense experience just from the pictures.
Can't wait, actually. I'm kind of glad that I'm going back to Disneyland next year, because I haven't been in a while, but also, it'll give me, I feel I'll be able to get a good idea of where this stuff is going to go. And also it's, for me, because I do go to both coasts, this is just more reason for me to bounce back and forth between Disneyland and Disney World.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if they're going to, because I don't think I've ever seen a boat ride where it's legitimately wavy, where there's actual waves going on. And this first piece of concept art looks like this whale thing jumping out of the water is going to create rough seas. First of all,
they'll have a way to pitch the boat, so that it feels like the boat's being affected by the whale.
We saw patents around that, right?
Yes,
we thought it was going to be used for Moana, but it looks like it's maybe something that's used for this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is the boat, because we were talking about okay, they're going to be able to turn the boats and stuff like that. This is exactly this is a good use case for that, right?
Yeah. Well, and I wonder, this scene right here, it actually looks, the background of it looks like the outside of Pandora. It looks like the outside part with that kind of spirally part, and there's some outside water there. I wonder, are they really going to do this somehow? I don't think that they can make an animatronic that jumps out of the water and creates a huge wave. Maybe they can, but because this feels like a very screen-based effect, but it also looks like it's the outside part of the land that it's happening.
Well, I have to wonder, because they're pretty good at also doing this may be contained inside of the ride, but they may make you feel like you're going outside.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they could do that where when you're in the ride, you never actually leave the building, but they present, similar stuff to what you see in the park, but or like outside, but doing all these effects, which again, makes it, that could make it feel more like, wow, I just saw something, crazy happen, and now I'm standing, in the area where it did happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. So, by the way, there's no timing on this one. They did not provide timing for this. So who knows when we're going to see this? But, this, if Avatar, if Pandora down in Florida is any indication, like 5 years from now. But although this looks
just assume 5 years. Yeah, everything is at least 5 years out.
This is definitely a little smaller though than Pandora, and it doesn't seem to have as many floating rocks, which I believe was part of the problem for how long Pandora took. So I don't know. We'll see. But we also have too now. And this is interesting that at Disneyland they're going to. I think this is a new attraction, right?
This is going to rotate. So what they're doing is they are adding a Walt Disney animatronic. So it's going to be a different show, but it's going to run in the same building as Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah. So the idea is that this is going to rotate between the Walt Disney animatronic and the Abe Lincoln animatronic doing different shows. It's still going to be in the same building.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this is I was talking with my wife about this, and she was reading that, apparently some people were upset that they're doing an animatronic of Walt Disney. And I'm kind of like, why would you be upset about that? Like,
apparently his great granddaughter or something is mad about it too. But
okay,
Disney brought in other family members and they were cool with it. So
yeah. So if you're that mad about it, then you should be mad about the Abe Lincoln one too, because at this point, Walt Disney is a historical figure in the sense that, he founded this giant company that it is now. And, doing an animatronic show of him, I feel, Disney definitely is not going to do anything to, tarnish their namesake. Right. So,
absolutely.
I feel like this, it's a cool thing. It's something that, I will admit I've seen the Great Moments show once, and I was like, I don't need to see that again. Like, it was cool, but it's very old and all that. And not because it's old, but also it's like, I don't want to sit there and watch that. But this, I would be curious to stop in and see this. Like I want to see what they do with this, that, or how they portray Walt Disney. Like, we have enough footage of him at this point. I'm pretty sure they can,
nail it. Yeah.
They can make it, look and feel like him.
Yeah. And I mean, they already said they're going to use archival recordings. So they're going to use his actual voice. It's not going to be AI or anything like that.
Yeah. So,
which is great.
I don't see what the problem is with that.
I don't either. But then again, I'm not one of his family members. But I think, I'd like to believe that if Walt Disney were able to comment on making an animatronic out of himself, he'd probably be all for it. Just say it.
Yeah,
I think he would.
I don't see why he would be mad about that in any way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so let's this first of all, we'll really quickly do this Tiana's announcement. So everybody knows what Tiana's Bayou Adventure is. They announced an opening date at Disneyland, which is November 15th of 2024. So that's happening. I don't think we need to talk about that any further. You guys already know what it is. So.
West Coast is getting theirs finally.
Yep, exactly. I think the big thing is all the Marvel announcements, and we're going to deviate a little bit from Disneyland here because they kind of mushed all the Marvel announcements together. Yeah. So, but we'll start with California Adventure. So finally, they're going to finish off Avengers Campus. Avengers Campus has always been intended to have an e-ticket attraction that, besides the Spider-Man one, in the building that they have there. Right, that's always been intended. They canceled it during COVID. So now they're finally doing it. They're going to do 2 attractions. So the first one is going to be, they're saying it's a multi-world adventure experience with Avengers Affinity Defense. So it looks like it's going to be like you're going through the multiverse or whatever, kind of something like that. I don't know. I think the ride vehicles for this kind of look like trackless. We're doing trackless again. It seems like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
which I'm fine with. Go ahead. Sorry.
The interesting thing about this is that I feel like Infinity Defense is lining itself up for another, like the Millennium Falcon and Star Tours, where it can be a cyclical thing that, you know, they can keep updating it because it looks very screen based and it looks very like, you know, there may be some animatronics in there, but I feel like it's going to be mostly a digital ride, and that you know, you'll get different scenes probably because, you know, it's in, you know, multiverse, you know, hey, as new shows come out and new variations on it, they can just keep updating it. That's my thought on why they're doing this and the intent behind it.
Yep.
So, you know, again, you know, I guess we'll see how that plays out. The other, so there was that one, but then the other ride is the Stark Flight Lab.
Yeah.
Which that one actually caught my eye because it doesn't look like a roller coaster per se.
No.
But it's making use of some old tech from Interventions that I remember.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Trevor, I'm so glad you said that because I 100% was like, oh, they're doing Interventions again. Cool. Like, you know, what was that called?
It was Cyberspace Mountain is what you're thinking of.
No.
Where they had the big robotic arm.
Yeah.
So when I remember was Cyberspace Mountain, where you programmed the track that you wanted, and then they put you into this robotic arm device, which is exactly what this looks like.
It was Some of All Thrills.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That was
the one. Yeah. It's the exact same technology. It's the same arm. You're sitting in the same seat.
Yeah. It's the robotic arm, and it just kind of like throws you around, and they can, you know, make you feel like you're doing like crazy loops and stuff. But it's interesting that the one thing that confuses me is it looks like it's on on a track, and then it gets attached to the robotic arm. And
like you're sitting there and the arm just picks you up, and it actually says that the robot arm grabs your pod and starts whirling it around in a simulated flight. Yeah, I'm interested to see the implementation of this.
Yeah, I mean, that in and of itself sounds a little scary. Like from a point of like, you know, what if one of these arms fails?
Yeah, that does seem kind of scary, right?
But I get, but not like in the sense of like, you know, what if the arm goes haywire? But it's like, you know, this thing has to like grip onto the thing that you're sitting in and then lift you up. And, you know, however that's attaching, you know, it needs to make sure that, you know, it doesn't fail, because then you're falling off of the arm, right?
Yeah, I'm watching the Instagram video here, and they show a little bit more detail. It seems like the conveyor belt doesn't necessarily move. I don't know. It's hard to tell from the Instagram video, but it's gonna be interesting to see how they do this. But I thought the same thing immediately, Trevor. I was like, oh no way, Some of All Thrills. I couldn't remember the name though. But like I remember, like, because you used to design your own roller coaster and then you would ride it on that. It always had a ridiculously long line because there was only like a couple of them.
Yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 of them, and it would take, and you'd have to wait for, you know, people to get in, do the thing, and then I know where I was thinking of. Yeah, Cyberspace Mountain was in Disney Quest. That's where I'm confused.
That's where, yeah. No,
so,
Some of All Thrills.
It was,
which has been closed since 2016. Actually, I thought it was closed longer than that, to be totally honest.
Really? Yeah. I wrote it in like 2006. So.
Yeah, it opened 2009 and went till 2016. So it was over for 7 years. And I mean, you know, I'm surprised it even got done in the first place, considering its small capacity. That's, you know, Disney does not like small capacity.
But you said it opened in 2009?
Yeah, October 14th, 2009. Yeah.
Then they had something else there when I was there in 2006. I
don't know.
Interventions is weird.
Because Interventions. I mean, there was.
They kept like moving and renaming and Yeah,
because there was they had a Segway thing there one time, like when Segways first came out, and I remember I rode around in a Segway for the first time, and that was cool. But like that was separate. I think Some of All Thrills. No, it wouldn't have been there at that point because this was 2002, maybe. No, wait, 2005. I'm going to say.
Yeah. So this is the problem. It's like, that's all fuzzy. That's like a weird.
It's a little
time.
I mean, but look, these are good. These are good additions. Like, and I think it's going to be some cool things to check out. But then we have other stuff, right? So for Shanghai and for Hong Kong, and very Spider-Man heavy, which I understand because Spider-Man. I don't know if Spider-Man's the most popular Marvel character, but I feel like he kind of is. I don't know.
I mean, he's kind of the flagship for Marvel at this point.
I would say so, yeah. But because Disney can't use it at Disney World, they're like, let's throw him everywhere else.
Yeah.
So Shanghai's getting it looks like a roller coaster, right? It's saying
it's a coaster,
yeah. It's saying Peter Parker's got it himself and us in a bit of a tight spot. We're going to follow him at very high speeds to get us out of trouble. So it's a launch roller coaster. I'm guessing it looks like a launch, and probably going to be very screen based as well. But this looks like a pretty intense coaster.
This is actually giving me, again, Guardians vibes. Looking at it, like it feels very much like again an iteration of a Guardians type coaster, which is not bad. It's
And then there's another one in Hong Kong, and this one is I can't really decide what this is. Is this Star Tours? Is this a simulator? I don't know what's going on here.
It almost looks like Tower of Terror.
You know what? It kind of does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that part. Now that you say that, though, it makes sense. It's like Spider-Man is holding a ride vehicle up, right? And
so and again, similar to the Disneyland Guardians ride, where they do a bunch of stuff with the elevator, and because it was formerly Tower of Terror, but I can see this being another Tower of Terror type spin-off ride. Which is again not bad. Like they can do some really cool stuff with that. And again, it's all the biggest problem. And the thing that I kind of get on Disney for is when these rides are just 100% screen based. That to me it feels like the cheap out option. But I also get sometimes logistically maybe they can't do it. Maybe due to space, it's easier to do this versus, putting a bunch of money into animatronics. But again, I hope that they find that good middle ground where, for something like this, it would be cool to have some like a Spider-Man animatronic, get the feel of him trying to hold up the elevator. Like that
kind of going back and forth. Yeah. You're bouncing. Yeah.
Yeah. That I feel, that, hopefully they can do some really cool stuff with it, but
we'll have to see.
I'll just watch the videos because there's no way I'm getting to these parks anytime soon.
And just hope that someday we can have fun things in the United States too.
Well, I mean, we are getting fun things. We are. Just not Spider-Man.
Not Spider-Man. Not Spider-Man. I mean, you already have a Spider-Man thing at Avengers Campus, but it's not this. So let's jump over to non-US parks. First of all, they're building a new Lion King land and ride in where is this? Is Paris? Wait, where's this? I totally forgot.
This is in Paris. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Lion King's getting a like Splash Mountain.
It's basically Splash Mountain. They made Splash Mountain with Lion King theming, right? Like this is just Splash Mountain, right? Which it's fine. Like
I didn't know I wanted that, but
I kind of do. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of great. I mean, it looks kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, hopefully it's a lot different, but this is it looks cool. And the whole land looks cool too. Like there's a whole land they're building around this with I mean, it doesn't look that big though. It looks pretty small. It kind of looks like just this ride, and a show building behind it. You can see in the model. But again, it's interesting to me. It kind of took this long for Lion King to have like a ride. That's like one of their top IPs, right?
Which, I guess that is fair. But I guess, Festival at the Lion King has kind of filled that gap for a long time. Like that show has been huge and has really carried that IP. The one thing about this ride that is kind of sticking with me looking at the concept art is that it looks like they chose to go with the live action Lion King.
They did, yeah.
Which I don't know that that's a good decision.
Well,
to be honest,
but they also have that Mufasa movie coming out they're carrying that on again.
Yeah, but I still don't know if that's a good decision.
Also, the live action made like over $1 billion too, though.
and I know box office numbers, but that's great and all, but I guess you don't see the live action stuff on a lunchbox. You don't see it.
Right, you're right.
Like it. I feel sometimes that they want to move away from the animation for some reason, but the live action stuff I don't feel. And maybe this is just me and my nostalgia about it. Is I don't feel it's a good representation of the IP because they're trying too hard to make it look like real animals talking. It's like it was a cartoon. Like, can you just let it
talk?
Can you just let it be a cartoon?
You know what?
Right?
Though? I liked it. I thought it was all right. I mean, they basically did the exact same story, and like the only change was like the voices, and there was like one extra song or something like that. But I thought it was fine.
And that's fine, but they could have updated the animation and still kept that cartoon flair to it, I guess is the thing. And I guess basing an entire ride around the live action one, I guess at the end of the day, if they got tired of, if the Lion King IP went away, you could just make it the animal ride and, just take all the voices out and it would just be
animal ride,
animatronics. Like
you just make it the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah. Right. It could just be the Jungle Cruise Splash Mountain mix up. Like
intense Jungle Cruise. That's where we're at.
Yeah. But you see my point, right?
No, I 100% see your point.
Like it doesn't, unfortunately the live action stuff, I feel they're trying too hard to make it hyper realistic, and the show really shouldn't have been that way in the first place.
No, I guess
is my opinion on it. But
a lot of people felt that way. Dude, you're not alone on that one.
But I guess the fact that they're doing this as a ride, it does bring up the thought of hey, maybe there is maybe we'll see more Lion King stuff on or in North America. Depending on how well this is received, right? So
agreed. The other thing that they're getting, so we didn't even mention this. So it's well known that at Disneyland Paris that the studios area, right, was known for not being good.
it hasn't been updated since
but it was bad to start
2000s. It's stuck in a bad time.
They had no money and they needed to add an extra park to keep the land rights it's one of those things where they had to build a new park, and so they did it as cheaply as possible, and it's not nice. It wasn't nice. Now they've been working really hard to redo it. It's now going to be called Disney Adventure World. Okay. And that's where the new Lion King thing is going to go. And that's where World of Frozen is going to go. They're building a World of Frozen there. But they're also going to do this nighttime spectacular on this area called Adventure Bay, which is kind of like the World Showcase Lagoon. It's a 360, you can walk all the way around this big, giant, body of water. And this is going to be, it's going to have fountains, drones, music, and lasers. I'm assuming fireworks. They don't say fireworks, but maybe fireworks as well. But I think this is the first permanent drone show. Like all the other ones have been kind of temporary, and now they're going to build a permanent drone show at Disneyland Paris, where they've done the majority of the drone shows already, which is interesting. I don't know why. Actually, I think I do know why. I think the drone company they use is based out of Paris, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, this is interesting that they're doing this, that they're going to build this and they're including drones in it.
Well, and I mean, maybe this is also their opportunity to do things because, again, we've talked about them doing this kind of stuff at Epcot.
Yeah.
And, maybe there's been.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about that article.
There is technical limitations to doing stuff like that. But, because they're redoing this entire park, this is their opportunity to say, well, this is where we get to do our wish list. Like, this is the big nighttime water show with drones, with all the bells and whistles, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
So this is good for them. Great. Let's go to DCL really quick. I know you don't usually talk cruise line, but I'm doing Disney Cruise Line next year. We talked a little earlier about this. They revealed that they're building 4 more boats. I mean, which is crazy because they only have 5 right now, so they're doubling it. But they also have a couple that are already being built that are going to be added as well. So they're basically going to have like a new ship almost every year now from now until 2031, which is crazy. They're going to go from 4 ships to 13. So it's a lot of ships.
The thing that I will say that would be hard about that is the problem is every one of these ships offers something unique, right?
They do, yeah.
Then it becomes a problem of keeping track of what's on each boat and what you want to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's, I mean, the one boat is like the one new boat that they have is that Villains thing. They have the Marvel theme going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like they also put out some new information about the Disney Treasure, which I'm going on. And, you know, they have this, a preview of what the Moana stage show is going to look like. And it includes a 15-foot tall puppet of Taka, which looks incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't wait to see the show when I go on my trip. Like, this is going to be amazing. But yeah, you're right. It does make it a little bit harder to keep track. And it's funny because I said this to my wife that they're building all these new ships. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because the demand is there. Like,
because if the boats are full all the time, you know,
you need more boats.
Keep making more boats, right?
Yeah, keep making more boats. So I mean, obviously, it's becoming a huge part of their business, where it has been, but it's becoming an even bigger part of their business, and so they're really pushing to do new things. And so the fact that they're going to add 4 more ships is not that surprising to me. And, you know, like I said, they already have 4 others that are being built right now, including the one I'm going to be going on. And then they're going to build another 4 after that. So literally they're going to have a new ship every year pretty much for the next until 2031, which is wow. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean that alongside of all the park stuff that we just talked about. I mean, it is really,
it's a busy time at Imagineering.
Crazy how much stuff they're doing. Yeah,
yeah, it's a very busy time at Imagineering right now. I would say. So because I mean, listen, Imagineers build the boats too. I mean, they're not just doing the park; they're also doing the boats. So
yeah. I mean, all of that everything is tied into Imagineering.
Yeah, exactly.
About here. Yeah,
exactly. All right. So now I got some miscellaneous stuff, right? So that didn't really fit into anything. So this is not DVC. When I saw lounge, I was like, oh, DVC lounges, new DVC lounges. Great. No, this is just, when they say lounge, they basically mean bar. Right? That's basically what
Bars
these are.
In the park, which
Bars
is kind of
in the parks. Yeah.
Interesting.
So one of them, they're going to take that lounge. It used to be a lounge. I forget. I think it's for Siemens employees. You can actually see it behind Spaceship Earth. It's got the black windows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that was the old Siemens lounge that hasn't been used in a while, but now there's going to be a Spaceship Earth based lounge.
Which, listen, the theming on this looks awesome. And it looks like you're going to get an amazing view of Luminous from there, and that's pretty cool that they're going to do that. I have no problems with them putting this there. I would like to check it out. I've always kind of wanted to go up there, so the fact that now I can have access to it, okay, cool. And then they gave us some updates to the tavern, to the Pirates of the Caribbean tavern that they've announced a while ago, but we haven't heard any updates on. And so this is going to be, and they're saying this rambunctious watering hole will offer a welcoming haven for all pirate kind, big and small, and everyone in between, bandits and buccaneers come from every corner of the 7 seas to join together, raise a toast for pirate life. So this, both of these spaces are going to be completed in 2025. We don't have a season, but this is going to happen in 2025. And the Pirates of the Caribbean one looks really cool.
It does.
Like, it's just
I keep looking at the boat anchor on fire as the
as the chandelier.
The chandelier,
that's awesome.
It looks cool, and I do like that they're being very clear about these are not adult lounges. They are meant for families. So I'm hoping that means that like my concern with lounges, and I've said this before, is people who drink too much alcohol, and especially people who drink too much alcohol at Disney. Tend to hurt the experience for other people. We've seen plenty of videos of, people drinking around the world that, don't know when to stop. Yeah. And, hopefully this means, because it is still a family thing that, that limits some of this, but also gives, this could end up being another, Space 220 or, one of these go-to spaces where, you kind of cap off a trip with, going and having
Trader
dinner in
Sam's
the pilot lounge.
Yeah, Trader Sam's. Like it's Trader Sam's, but different themes, right?
Well, more pirate, less tiki room.
Yes. But what I mean is like those these highly themed bars, these highly themed lounges that have like, fun things in them. Like that's what this is, right? And to your point, Trevor, like a kid can go into Trader Sam's, right? Like before a certain time, and they have mocktails and stuff like that. And that's kind of seems like what they're going to do here, right? It's going to make it kind of family friendly. So it looks awesome to me. I'm excited for both of these, honestly. The one it's so funny the opposites that they are though, right? Because like the Pirates one looks like, like it's crazy and loud and fun, and then like the Spaceship Earth one looks like very classy, very upscale.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like,
the Spaceship Earth is like, oh yeah, I could see myself going up there to paying for like a dessert party type experience. Going and watching fireworks from there and everything.
Oh, I'm sure they will have their party page thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the Pirates one, it like this to me feels like it's a little bit Adventure Club to me.
Yeah.
Like it has that same kind of, hopefully there's just stuff going on, like random. I mean, they have the pirates standing up on the bar kind of thing. Hopefully it's not just go in there and eat kind of thing. But like you said, that there's like things happening or,
like Trader Sam's where there's like events, like there's like things that happen, like the bartenders at Trader Sam's, when you order certain drinks, they yell stuff, like I'm sure we're going to have that here.
Yeah. It should be fun. And hopefully it's, so this is actually going to be like in the middle or between the gift shop and the entrance to Pirates, right? Because this was in that like where there used to be that the
Pirates League thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. So I think it'll be fun too, even if you're not going in there, like, just as you're walking by kind of thing, just seeing all the, chaos going on in it.
Yeah.
Like I like stuff like that. I like having that like, atmosphere to a space in the park, right?
I agree.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so this next thing, I'm just gonna go off the bat. I'm just several of these for myself.
just drones. It says is drones.
No, because I said specifically that I think they're going to add drones to Luminous, right? Like that I thought that Luminous lended itself to drones. And sure enough, the executive creative director of Disney Live Entertainment said that more drones are coming to Disney parks, and specifically said that Luminous was designed to be updated with drones. So look at that. I was right about a thing. The only thing
finally got your wish.
Well, we're still, we still have it wrong because we said there was going to be an announcement of a new drone show, and there was no announcement of a new drone show, at least for Disney World. But for other parks there were, but there's no drone show yet for Disney World. And this guy Davison did say that there's no plans to update Luminous currently, right? But he said it was designed to be updated. So that could change at any time. And that's not necessarily something they need to announce at D23. They can announce that through a blog post, right? So, we'll hopefully see more about that. I would be shocked if they don't get a drone show at Disney World in 2025 at some point. Like, it's just moving that way too fast.
I wouldn't be surprised, because of everything that we've talked about here, that, we're talking like 5 years out for a lot of this stuff that, they don't want to go and throw in something like, the update of Luminous at that point. This will be the kinds of things that they do in between while we're waiting for these new attractions to open, is exactly what you're saying is, they'll be like, oh, hey, next year it'll be, Luminous will get updated, or, they'll pepper us with stuff to keep us entertained until the big stuff comes.
Well, and that's what Iger said a couple of calls ago, right? When somebody asked him about Epic Universe and how they were going to respond, and Iger's like, listen, we do things in a very deliberate way where we release new stuff in increments, to keep people coming because there's always new things every year, right? Yeah. So a lot of these things that we're talking about are big projects that will take many years. They're still going to have new stuff happening each year in between those years, because they release things in a manner where they continue to make it where every time you go to Disney, there is something new, right? And that's the smart way to do it, right? Like, I think that's smart of them to do. And to your point, Trevor, like, they're going to have some of these things added. Like, they can easily, not easily, but, it's going to take some time and work, but they can add that drone show piece to Luminous and say, hey, we're going to have this starting in summer 2025. There's a new reason to go to see the drones, right? Like, that's what I think is going to happen with a lot of this stuff. So, yeah, well, we'll have to see, though. But I put this on here almost specifically for you, Trevor, but also because I saw it and I thought that they kind of knocked it out of the park, personally.
It looks good. I will agree.
Okay, because, for a long time, there was that fake image of Stitch going around that was supposed to be there was a fake image of Stitch from a live action movie that Disney didn't actually make. It was some artist made it online of like this really creepy Stitch that was gross. But it got branded as like Disney's version of the live action.
Every time you saw a mention of live action, they were putting that image next to it.
Yeah. And that was never real. So now we're getting to see what the live action Stitch is really going to look like. And I feel like they killed it. He looks awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, my son is kind of past the point of Lilo and Stitch, although, he will still, I'm sure I could convince him to come and watch it. But I want to see how they do this, because Stitch is one of those IPs that they haven't really touched it in a long time, and I feel like this is a good opportunity for them to bring it forward. And back to my point about Lion King, it's still like, this is not like you said, that creepy, too hyper realistic version. It still looks very like it looks like it'll fit into a live action movie, but he looks like, that's Stitch.
It looks like Stitch. He looks adorable and cuddly, and also kind of mean.
I'm sure he can switch it on when he wants to for the mean, 626 alien.
I think he looks very cute in this. I thought he looked very adorable, and also, it's still all the features, like you said. He looks like Stitch. They just nailed it.
Yeah.
All right, so now we go over all the things we got wrong and we didn't. All the things we predicted that we didn't get announcements for. Now, I want to say before we do this, I still think a lot of these things are going to happen. They just didn't get announced at D23 for the reasons I said before, that they're still under development and they're not ready to announce them yet. That's my feeling, Trevor.
Okay. Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Well, I think some of these things are completely off the plate, to be honest.
Okay.
So,
listen. Yeah. All of these, right?
This is the wrong list that, from us list. Talking about it. So the first thing is there was nothing about Figment.
Nothing.
Which is okay. But that doesn't mean that it, there's not going to be anything about Figment.
Still in the works, I think. Yeah. I think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Like, I just believe that.
Exactly. And then Spaceship Earth. So they're not doing anything to Spaceship Earth, but the fact that the lounge is coming, makes me wonder if, again, the lounge may come to be, and then, they may start, that may be the trigger for them to start doing some updates to Spaceship Earth. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I mean, and that's a thing that's a refurbishment, right? Like, it's not a refurbishment, it's a retheming, right? So not necessarily something you would announce at D23. You might, right? Because some of the things they announced at D23 were rethemes. Like,
I think it's priority, right? I don't think this is a priority thing the same way the D23 announcements were.
Yeah. The next one we got way wrong.
Reflections.
Reflections not happening. Listen, it could still happen. They just didn't announce it at D23, right? Yeah. Also,
there's been still rumors and talks about it, but nothing concrete about Reflections yet.
Also, no Moana ride at Disney World.
You're gonna do this for every single one of these?
No, I just like hearing it. Okay. It's fun to hear.
Oh gosh,
I went very Price is Right.
So no boat ride, which is fine. Fifth gate, I do not think the fifth gate is happening.
It's never going to happen. Everyone chill about it.
It's not happening. New water park, again, I don't see a reason why they need a new water park. I think, they got lots to work with the ones that they have. I could see them, possibly announcing some more, renos and stuff to the existing ones. But yeah, there's so much for them to do. Again, water parks, I feel water parks are fine. Their water parks are fine. And they've got way bigger fish to fry right now. Anyway, with all these announcements. And then you've got Bluey on here, which
I predicted they were going to put Bluey in the parks.
Yeah. I agree. You know, it would have been cool to see some Bluey stuff because it is a good IP. But I'm also kind of glad that they're not because, yeah, you know, I think I feel if Disney gets too far into Bluey, it'll ruin what Bluey is.
I hope not, but I don't know. I just want my daughter to be able to meet Bluey in person. She got to meet Peppa Pig, and her head just about exploded. Like, so, I mean, if she got to meet Bluey, it would be the coolest thing ever. And I don't want her to grow out of that, I guess. And, you know, it would be great to do it while she's in this time period where it would be amazing for her. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Yeah. But nothing about the Wonders of Life Pavilion. Totally wrong on that.
Yeah, kind of surprising that, you know, that's still just nothing at this point.
Nothingness. And I didn't put this on the list, Trevor, but it's the same thing with the former location of Alien Encounter. We still don't know what's going on there. Nothing.
But you know, reading again, you know, with all the talk about the Frontierland updates, you know, a lot of people are kind of leaning towards the implication of once Cars and everything is up and running in Magic Kingdom, that may be the opportunity for them to start looking at doing stuff in Tomorrowland. Because if they start announcing it now, the problem is that if you shut down a large section of Tomorrowland, because it's not just the Alien ride or the Stitch ride or the Stitch attraction, that also ties into like Cosmic Rays and everything. So like there's more to it.
Buzz Lightyear needs a full redo. I mean, like
so like that. So I could see like I'm kind of agreeing with you know other people's theory on that you know this will be, you know, this is way further out. Like realistically, you're talking like not in the next 10 years for anything with that area because they got some work to do in Frontierland first.
No, I agree with that. But at the same time, Tomorrowland needs some help. Like, it just generally needs some help.
There needs some love.
But you know what? They can do that at the same time, right? Like they could do that.
No,
you don't think so?
I don't agree with that because
they could do
Magic
at least.
Kingdom,
good.
It's busy enough, and once you start closing stuff down in Frontierland, if both sides of the park have walls up like that, people are going to get unhappy real quick.
Well, I'm saying they can do the Alien Encounter piece because it's inside. They could build something in there. There could be something in there now, and we have no.
Well, but I think the thing is that when whatever they want to do, I don't think it fits within the existing building structure. I think you know I'm not thinking them just replace the inside. I think that a redo of Tomorrowland means like bigger full impacts scale on all of the buildings, right? So
I mean, and they've done that at like Disneyland. They've done, you know, they really all of the Tomorrowlands have gone through some sort of overhaul, except for the Magic Kingdom one recently, right? Like, so maybe eventually we'll get that, but that was not announced. So nothing about Tomorrowland. Nothing about an Inside Out ride, which we talked a lot about.
That's really unfortunate. I mean, they have the Inside Out ride in DCA, but it's not like it's just a rethemed carnival ride.
Yeah, it's just a highly themed balloon ride, right, or whatever.
I you know, because we got a Monsters Inc. door coaster, I kind of want an Inside Out emotional roller coaster.
I said that in the Discord. I said emotional roller coaster trademarked. I trademarked it. You can't use it.
That's probably where I read that because I was like, I got it in my head. I was like,
emotional roller coaster.
They could just totally do something with that, like, you know, around the central core area, like. Yeah. It would,
there's the whole like train of thought thing that they have in that ends up going like really fast at different points. Like you could do the emotional roller coaster, totally. Oh, and the big one we didn't get, you know, one of the big
Skyliner. Ones. Yeah, this is that's actually I kind of forgot about this, but
we talked about it a little bit. But
we did it, and you know, in retrospect, it would have actually been nice to see some expansion to the Skyliner because the potential there, like, you know, I like Disney transportation, but the thing I like least about Disney transportation is the buses.
Yeah, everyone.
And if they could actually eliminate more reasons to take the bus, that would be really cool.
I agree.
I'm just,
I totally agree.
Again, that doesn't mean that we won't hear something about it in the future. It just means, you know, it wasn't D23 worthy. to mention it.
Listen, it's like we said, D23 is not the end all be all, right? Like they announced full on attractions outside of D23, right? Like that's not, because they didn't announce it today doesn't mean it's not happening. It's possible that it just wasn't ready for prime time yet, or they didn't get the green light on it yet. They don't get the funding yet. Like there's a lot of things that could prevent it from being announced at D23, right? And plus that whole presentation was packed, man. They had a lot of announcements in a very short amount of time. So like they can't announce everything. And again, like I went back to before, they announce things and launch things in pieces, so specifically so you get hype about it and then you want to go see it and then you get to see something new every year, right? So like this is not just because these things were not announced now. They could be announced in the future. We don't know. So yeah. Were there any other ones that we guessed about that we got nothing for? I mean, we didn't get the Epcot Hotel. We didn't get the Epcot Hotel, but
the Epcot Hotel was an outlier. We knew that like when we talked about it. So
the Epcot Hotel, the Epcot Entrance Hotel is becoming the fifth gate, where it's like, it's going to happen. Oh no, it's not going to happen.
I feel like, just in general, I feel like, and I said this about the Epcot Hotel, is just having a hotel somewhere that is attached to a park. It doesn't have to be the Epcot one necessarily, but having, and I think actually what we had talked about was, maybe repurposing the Star Cruiser as a standard hotel, not as the Star Cruiser, right? It would have been nice if they had talked about something like that. But all these D23 announcements. The interesting thing is that there was no talk about new hotels or anything like that. Which, I mean, does that mean that there is enough hotels for what Disney is offering? I mean, no. Like there definitely could be more hotels, but I guess maybe Disney is figuring right now they don't need to announce the hotels because again, nothing's going to be built quickly, and maybe they'll add these in as we go along, because I can see with all these new attractions and stuff that are coming, it's going to eventually hit a point where the existing hotels that Disney's offering won't be enough. Like it'll be, we'll get to a point where the hotels are busy all the time, which you don't want that either. Like, Disney wants the hotels full 24/7, but I feel that there may be justification for more capacity there, but you may not hear about it for a couple of years, right? Like this wasn't the D23 to talk about it.
No. And it's interesting though, too, because somebody asked in the Discord, and I'm sorry, I'm not mentioning who, because I can't look it up now. Will Disney ever build another hotel that's non-DVC? And on its face, it feels like a ridiculous question, but then I thought about it and I'm like, when is the last time they built a hotel that wasn't a DVC hotel?
Like a moderate or a value type hotel. Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while, right?
It has. I mean,
which is interesting because, obviously DVC is the most loyal people, right? But like, and the people that can afford it, obviously. But then, you got to also have rooms for people who are not DVC. I mean, they have to, you have to have more capacity for that.
But I guess here's the question, though, because they had like Art of Animation and stuff and Pop Century. Part of those, and I haven't checked in a while, I'll be honest, but I remember they had closed part of those down because they didn't or they couldn't operate them for a little while, at least. Like I don't think that I have to wonder if the existing ones, like the value resorts they have, if like maybe it's a weird thing where you would think that they would want a whole bunch more value resorts, but maybe the value resorts aren't as busy as you think because people that are operating at that level may choose to stay off site more than stay at Disney. So maybe there's not actually the demand for value and moderate that you think there is, because people that really want to stay at Disney shell out for the deluxe resorts or DVC.
So, right? So to your point though, so like there was after 9/11, there was a major downturn in tourism, and that's when they stopped building basically the Art of Animation. It was supposed to be a different building, and then they paused it. I think that's what you're referring to, right?
Yes.
It looks like to me the last non-DVC hotel was Animal Kingdom Lodge in 2001.
But Animal Kingdom Lodge
There's two buildings,
is
my friend.
a DVC.
Well, it is now, but it wasn't when it launched, right?
Got
So
it. Okay.
the original building didn't have DVC in it to start off. They retrofitted it later. And also there's the separate DVC building that's Kidani. The regular Animal Kingdom, though, is the last one, and that was 2001. That's crazy to think about, really.
I mean, like I said, it kind of makes sense that, Disney, why would they stop building DVC? Because there's lots of people that want DVC.
No, it's true. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just interesting that it's been that. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
I didn't realize it'd been that's actually a fair point. We always get excited about the DVC resorts, but when was the last time you heard,
just a regular resort?
But I guess, I'm thinking back to going to the All-Stars resorts and stuff, is it's I feel like the demographic for All-Stars, and I mean, to be fair, those resorts are huge. I feel like the capacity on those is they built them that way so that they didn't have to build more resorts.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you look at, so I'm just looking at this article and forgive me if this is not accurate, but All-Star Movies is 1,920 rooms, 1,604 for music, 1,920 for sports. Art of Animation holds 1,984, and that's not people, by the way. That's the number of rooms. And Pop Century is 2,880. There's a huge amount of rooms in the value category, right? It's a lot. So I would be interested if they would maybe build a new value resort. But again, when's the last time they built a value resort was Pop Century. So actually that was more recent. That was 2003. So it was actually Pop Century is the correct answer.
Oh, okay.
No, I take it back. 2012. Sorry. Art of Animation. I'm way
Art of Animation got finished in 2012.
It did, yes. It got started well before that. It was originally started, let's see, when was it originally started? Because it was originally supposed to be part of Pop Century. So, but that opened 2012. So, I'm wrong about Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom was the last deluxe one that was open. That wasn't DVC.
Yeah, but
they've done two values.
So Art of Animation was over 10 years ago.
Yeah, 12 years ago.
Maybe we are due for one.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised. It was an interesting question, and it made me think really hard about it. I was like, okay. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's wrap this thing up, man.
Let's leave it there. We talked about so much stuff today.
Let's just wrap it up.
2.5 hour episode. I'm going to take away your soundboard.
No, you can't take away my soundboard. It's my soundboard. I hope everyone enjoyed my soundboard this episode. I just had to do it one more time before the end of the episode, Trevor. I had to. I couldn't help myself.
You need to add a golf clap in somewhere, I think. No.
I know. I know.
We'll talk about this later. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm done. Time for the
talk too long. We've talked for too long. We're losing it now. All right, so let's finish it up.
All right. So as usual, if there's anything that you want to talk about with us on the show, if you want to share your own trip reports, if you want to tell Tom, what to put on his soundboard, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We do love hearing from you guys, so please send us an email if you like to share with us your own takes on trip reports and stuff like that. Similarly, we are on social media. You can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. And you can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Make sure on Facebook, if you want a good Disney group, check out Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where all the stuff that we talk about gets put into memes by our listeners, and people share their own stuff. People talk about their own trips and their own takes on things like D23 and stuff. So make sure you come join us. It's a great place to just have a good Disney conversation and process everything that we just talked about today.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
I
haven't even processed all of it yet.
Right. Yeah. I'm still working through it. But also, if you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our different merch there. We got t-shirts and mugs and all kinds of great stuff. So, please have a look at the store. The merch from the store just helps us keep things running. Similarly, we do have a Patreon for the same reasons. Patreon has some exclusive merch, which you can find on patreon.com/welcomehomepod. And all of our Patreon supporters also get access to the Discord server, as we've been talking about through the episode, which is yet another place that, we had great conversations about the D23 announcements on there as it was happening.
Which I got to see bits and pieces of as
yes. There was people posting as the blog posts were coming out, and
cool.
we had a great time on there. But yeah, if you want to join us on Discord, please have a look on Patreon, and if you support us there, then we can all hang out on the Discord server. So
yeah,
please check that out. And last but not least, if you are listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review, because it's good for the show and it's good for us to feel happy. Because that's, if you want to make us happy, leave us that review. Tom will get happy, and maybe he'll. You need like a shooting star soundboard or something.
Listen,
for
now that I have more free time, there's going to be much more audio production going on here.
Yeah. So be prepared, everybody. But also
get ready.
Yeah. Also on iTunes, you can write us a review. So we do like reading out those reviews and just hearing what you guys think about the show. We love to know that you guys are enjoying it. So, or even if you're not, we actually like seeing all the comments, because, not everybody likes everything, and that's cool, because you're allowed to have your opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, please leave us a review to help the show out.
By the way, before anybody gets at me with this, I'm not counting the new Swan building as a Disney resort, and I'm also not counting the Four Seasons. Those don't count.
Yeah, those aren't Disney resorts.
They're not Disney resorts. Yeah. Somebody's going to come at me, though. They're going to be, the new tower at the Swan.
Swan and Dolphin is not owned by Disney.
It's not Disney, okay? Even though it's called the Walt Disney Swan and Dolphin. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app available. You can find us. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions expressed on the show are our own, so please contact a DVC cast member or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. No DVC announcements, by the way, D23. What's that all about? Anyway. I want some DVC announcements, Trevor. But join us next time. What?
It's not for D23.
I know. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Oh, also thank you to DVC Rental Store for sponsoring this episode, and World of DVC for being a constant supporter of the show. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
Dude.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no